Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope the show finds you in good spirits. Because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. There are some things that I have got to talk to you guys about. And like I said, I had a completely different title for the show. And then things are popping off in something else. And of course, we are still gonna. It's gonna be a cornucopia of different things today. Unfortunately, because a lot of things are going on right now outside of what's going on in Chicago and Portland and all that. There's some things that are going on in Tennessee, and we got some breaking news right now as we speak. So I wanted to make sure that I gave you guys that update and what's going on. And it's pretty crazy. I'm going to be real. It is pretty crazy and devastating and shocking and all those things smashed into one. And it's still developing right now as we speak, okay? So please do me a favor before we get into everything. And then, yes, we will be covering a little bit of what's going on in Chicago for sure, okay? Don't worry, because I know a lot of y'all are still here for that too, okay? Because you guys saw the title before, but I had to change the title. So I apologize, but this is what's going on, okay? Breaking news, breaking news. So hit that like button down below, crush it, do what it do, hit that reaction button. If you're watching on these other platforms, like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Make sure you're subscribed here to this channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. Please and thank you. Subscribe right here to my YouTube channel. Go to my second and third channel. The second channel is called The Pascal Show Clips, and the third channel is called Pascal Raw. Please go over there, subscribe to those channels, hit the notification bell so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right? Hit that join button down below, become a member, check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Got some really great stuff over there, PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we got to get straight into this. This is some crazy stuff. Honestly, this is all just breaking right now as we speak. So just ride with me, okay? Because I just found out about this just a little bit ago, and I was waiting to see if there was going to be any live feeds about this, and there really wasn't anything until just now. So like I said, that's why I changed the title. Do not worry. We will be circling back and talking about what's going on in Chicago for sure. There's been massive protests going on out there. There's been a lot of craziness over there as well. So we will be covering that near the end of this show. But what's going on right now is that there was a massive explosion where they're saying, at least in this report, they're saying up to 12 people are feared gone. Now, at first they said one person gone. One person was unalived. Now they're saying up to 12 people gone, erased, after an enormous explosion happens at a Tennessee boom factory. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. And this is not a drill. This really just happened this morning. Massive explosion. Multiple people feared gone. They said, at least in the very beginning, when I first saw this article, because it's changed, the title's changed, they said only one person had lost their life. Multiple people are feared missing. And now they're saying up to 12 people possibly gone after a building, a manufacturing, like a factory goes up. Okay. And Judy's Journeys, I have to say boom, unfortunately, because you can't say the BOMB. Okay. You can't say that word on these platforms. So you're just going to have to ride with me. Okay. After they're making devices that go off. Okay. At this factory. So this is all breaking news right now. So ride with me. Okay. because everything we're going to get here is all like I'm reading it live with you guys and learning about it all. Because again, like I said, it is all breaking news. All right. So, of course, make sure, to hit that like button down below. Don't forget to follow or subscribe if you're watching on these other platforms. That'd be greatly appreciated. Real quick, love over hat. Is that what it is? Love over hat. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much for your support. All right. But like I said, this is all breaking freaking news. Yes, Debbie. Yes. To my one of my many fantastic mods. Okay. I don't want to make anybody feel not acknowledged, but to my fantastic mods, shout out to all y'all. Thank you so much. Yes, YouTube restrictions make us say these really corny words, unfortunately. Okay. I saw in a comment one time somebody asked, what does unalive mean? And somebody responded saying, oh, it's just some woke term. It's not a woke term. I don't know where that came from. It's a term that we have to use on these platforms because they won't let us say the word. Okay. Unfortunately, it's not a woke term. Anyway, people are funny these days. People are funny. So let's get into this, guys. Yeah, I mean, I guess that to them it sounds like a woke term, but it is not. It is, we are trying to keep ourselves on these platforms and not get ourselves deplatformed. So we do what we have to do, unfortunately, because these platforms are censoring the hell out of people. That's just what it is, unfortunately. We play by the rules as best as we can. But moving into what's going on, like I said, they say upwards of 12 people gone. Okay? 12 people gone. One, they said confirmed death so far. Unaliving. Okay? One unaliving. Yes, I know it's frustrating. It is what it is. But let's continue. And my thoughts and prayers are going out to everybody out here because this is pretty insane. So a dozen people are feared gone after an explosion erupted at a Tennessee factory that builds these types of things this morning. So the blast went off at the Accurate Energetic Systems plant at around 7:50 a.m. local time in Hickman. The Hickman County Sheriff's Office confirmed. At least 12 people are currently unaccounted for. Yeah, you could basically say they may have lost their lives. And yes, there was a press conference. We are going to be watching that very shortly. Just giving you guys the meat and potatoes, okay? But thank you so much, Denise, for letting me know that. But we do know, or at least I know. That's why I was waiting for something, and now we finally do have more information coming from a press conference, which we are going to be looking at here very shortly. Also, I want to point out, Pam Bondi also held a press conference about everything that's going on in Chicago. So we will be listening to her press conference once we get done covering, if we have time, covering this. Okay. We will be listening to her about what's going on and, the protests and, how they're, they've been saying that everybody who's protesting are Terrys and all that stuff. And well, I leave that question up to you guys. Are they Terrys? I don't know. But let's move on, okay? So at least 12 people are currently unaccounted for. And I've heard upwards of, yes, about 19 people gone or missing, all right? They fear that 19 have lost their lives, but at least as far as in this article, they're saying about 12. So the initial blast was so enormous that locals reported hearing and feeling it from miles away. Emergency crews are on site and have urged the public to stay away as they work the scene. Authorities said their main concern at the moment is the potential for secondary explosions. So yeah, that's a possibility, right? Look at that. I mean, that used to be a building. That used to be a factory. And now gone. All right. According to its website, Accurate Energetic Systems is quote unquote dedicated to the development, manufacturing, handling, and storage of high quality energetic products utilized in both defense and commercial markets. What do you think that they make? It's a very flowery way of saying that they make boom booms. Real talk. Okay. So they make pretty big stuff. And it's a good thing. I will say this. It's a good thing that this factory isn't like in the middle of a town, like in the middle of a heavily populated area that is off to the side. So that's, in my personal opinion, very good news. All right. And this is what we have so far in regards to this. Now, we're going to go and look at a couple things. This is pretty crazy, just to be completely real. This is all just very, very sad, very, very devastating. But of course, we want to know a little bit more of what's going on here, right? Un momento, por favor. Nope. Hold on. Because we do have the press conference, but I want to give you guys a little bit more information before we go into the press conference. Okay. The press conference is very short. And understandably that this press conference is very short. There's a lot going on. And a whole building just went up. Right? So, not surprised. Let's check this out. Did you see the camera shake? So this is from outside of the area nearby. They could hear the whole building go up, right? And obviously, once you hear, I'm going to play the beginning again real quick. Just look at the camera shake. Yeah, that's crazy. Madness. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, it's just in a loop. They just played it twice in one clip. But that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. That is absolutely crazy, y'all. So obviously, I mean, it does make you wonder if they would it does make you wonder if they would like have to sign some sort of disclaimer. You see what I'm saying? Like some sort of update, or not update, I'm sorry, like some sort of flyer basically saying like, I know that I'm risking my life walking into a space that is just filled with explosive, you know what I mean, highly volatile type of material, and that this place could be subject to just go off. You see what I'm saying? Like it does make you wonder, like, wouldn't they? I feel like they would sign something like that. I'm fully aware of the risk I'm taking walking into this building, right? Walking into this factory. Wouldn't you think? At least that's what I would think. But this is very insane. Okay? Very much insane. Hold on, guys. news. Crazy, guys. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Um, man, oh man. I have so many questions. Because of course, obviously this is some very scary stuff, but it does make you wonder how did this happen? Right? How the hell did this happen? Let's take a look at this.
A munitions plant. You can see I-40 off to the left on our screen. We're currently about 3 minutes away from the location. A munitions plant. You can see I-40 off to the left on our screen. We're currently about 3 minutes away from the location. We noticed shortly after takeoff from John Toon a large plume of smoke. I'll pan up and show you that. This is reportedly at the Accurate Energetic munitions plant near the Hickman-Humphreys County line. It has been confirmed by first responders, and we can confirm it here just based on this large plume of smoke. As we get closer to the scene, we'll show you.
I mean, this is nuts. So I'm going to see if they have more here. But this is pretty crazy that this whole thing is. And what's frustrating is, like I said, there's not a whole lot of live content or coverage
plant. You can see,
over this situation.
Off to the left on our screen. We're currently about 3 minutes away.
I don't know why that's still on.
From the location. We noticed shortly after takeoff from John Toon a large plume of smoke. I'll pan up and show you that. This is reportedly at the Accurate Energetic
hold on, guys. Sorry.
Plant near the Hickman-Humphreys County line.
A lot of things are very, very short.
By,
wait, hold on. Come on.
And we can confirm it here just based on this large plume of
smoke. Why is it still talking?
Closer to the scene, we'll show you.
Okay. I don't know why that was still playing. Let me see here. Hold on. I had something. Now it's gone. Shoot. That ain't it. Like I said, there's not what's crazy is that there's not that much information out here. I figured that there would be some huge live type of, coverage of this situation, but they're not showing anything. Okay, so let's get into this press conference. Like I said, it's very, very short, this press conference, but again, I'm happy that they're at least doing it, right? Because there's a lot of work they got to do. There's a lot of work they got to do. Dang, this is very quiet. Come on.
There's some things that I want to. This is pre-camera, okay? If you don't mind. Yeah, if you don't mind, please.
Off the record.
We're gonna be short, sweet, simple, to the point right now. This is massive. And we've got some families that we've still got to let know.
There we go. Better.
We've got some families that's we've got to get in contact with, and we're going to definitely try to be mindful of that. We're going to say a few things. I don't know that we're going to take any questions. I don't feel like we need to at this point. For those of you that's worked with me before, I always try to get you some kind of footage, some, I guess for lack of better words, B footage. I could probably do that in this situation, but it's going to have to be from a distance. This scene is very violent scene. Okay, so if I do that, and I'm going to have to we're going to get with Wendell, Mr. Stinson from the Accurate, and we'll discuss that. So what I'd like to do now is talk to you about this, and then I'll take about an hour and try to get most of all the families, if y'all will be patient with me, talk to the families, get them notified, and then we'll come back and organize from here, and we'll try to escort you in and at least try to get you some footage. Okay? You got a camera blocked right there, that young lady. I don't know. I just didn't want you blocked. Yeah. All right. Yes, let's go on the record. Y'all ready? All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. About 7:45 this morning, we had a very devastating blast at Accurate Arms. Very devastating blast. It encompassed one whole building that was on the facilities. We do have several people at this time that's unaccounted for. We are trying to be mindful of families and that situation. We do have some folks, we can confirm that we do have some that are deceased, but we're going to go back and, like I say, talk to these families, notify these families, and let these families know what's going on. We do have the scene as secure as possible at this time. You may hear some smaller explosions around the scene, but they are things that we have taken into consideration. We know that it's secure. The scene is secure as far as no more mass explosions or larger explosions. We do have the ATF on scene with us. We have the State Fire, Bomb, and Arson with us, TBI and Homeland Security as well. We're working this as a joint operation between Humphreys County and Hickman County. As you can see behind me is Sheriff Kraft. We also have our Odell Pointer, which is our EMA director. And forgive me, sir, I didn't remember your name with my Hickman County EMA director. We've got a lot of moving parts. We got a very big investigation. This is not going to be something that we're going to be like a car wreck or something like that we're just going to clean up the debris and leave. We're going to probably be here for a few days. Again, we're trying to take as much time as was needed. Right now, we're prioritizing people that are involved, their families, and trying to be very compassionate toward them. Am I leaving out anything, Sheriff?
No, sir. That's kind of where we're at right now. We're, as the sheriff said, we are at the beginning stages of all of this, so we're getting information. We're getting information, just minute by minute, and we're going to continue to build on that and do what we need to do. So, just with that, like I said, just keep the families and everyone in your prayers as we go through this the next few days.
Just to clarify, sir, if you don't mind, could you characterize when you say individuals, number of people involved, either injured or deceased? Is this above a dozen, below a dozen? Do you have any type of understanding?
I don't want to put that kind of information out there right now because we are vetting that. We've had such a massive response that now we're trying to slow down, identify things. And for those of you that was around me during the flood, we had some mistakes during the flood of some things that was put out there as names and numbers and that kind of thing. And I don't want that today. We're trying to be very methodical in what we're doing and making sure that we take the time to recognize and find out each and every one of these individuals and their family. And I'm putting these families and anybody that's involved first and foremost right now. As I say, we got the scene secure. I want to also talk about Accurate Arms. Accurate has opened their arms to us. They're cooperating with us in any way and every way possible. They're wanting to figure out this just as much as we are. So that's where we're at right now. And I appreciate everybody here. I appreciate the information. Again, I'd just like to ask for us all to be mindful of the families and everybody.
Speaking of families, I understand they're at gate 3. What should families be doing if they're seeing this right now? What are you advising them to do if they have not been able to make contact with loved ones?
Good question. And we're trying to get that information. We're working with their HR. We're trying to get family members. We're trying to get names. I think we've got somebody on the phone system that if people call in, we've got that information. And we're also establishing some critical incident team members that's responding and trying to be here for the family, along with clergy and chaplains. So we're getting all that together. But with all that said, I'd like to conclude here, and we'll try to be back. If you'll give us, I see that it's 11 o'clock. I'd like to get back here maybe at 12. I want to go up and communicate with with other law enforcement agencies to make sure that we can get y'all in with and get you some footage. You are right on the county line, half and half, and that's why I say we're working this, and he and I are married at the hip, Mr. Stinson.
I don't know the math, and I just wondered if it was both.
It's
It actually, some of it is actually Hickman, and some of it is Humphreys. So.
and you know, it's one of those things that I've often said. It don't matter if there's something that's going to happen. For those of you that know me, if there's something happen, we're going to take care of it, of what needs to be done. Together, everybody achieves more, and we're going to stay together and make sure we handle this situation the best we can. All right. I appreciate. Well, there was just some things, and I wanted to clarify that, but I also want to, we're doing that to try to be respectful of the family. So I appreciate that very much, and I appreciate you guys. Yes, sir.
Did this happen at one specific building? Was it a storage building, or do we know if it's at like a main plant?
At 7:45 a.m. this morning, there was a devastating explosion, and we're going to get that information out. We're going to clarify things. Let me get to that, because if I start naming particulars, I don't need to do that right now. Okay?
He doesn't have everything yet.
Anything else?
I get it.
Anything else?
He doesn't have all the information. It just happened.
Officer Gray Collier, y'all probably already met. She's going to be around here with Gray, and if you've got questions, she can contact us. Okay.
Yes.
So we'll do that.
Okay. So there's that. There's that press conference. And I get it. It just happened. They don't know everything yet. They're still trying to figure it all out. It just happened. Now, here's the thing. This was a boom boom factory. Okay. This was an explosive factory. It built and manufactured explosives. That's literally what it did. Okay. That's what it was, its job. So again, I am kind of curious. I mean, you don't think that this is going to happen, something like this, but for a fact that should linger in the back of your mind every once in a while, like especially if you're working there, or especially if you have a plant that literally is made there to make specific types of devices that are for military grade and for commercial use. I mean, clearly, it just makes you wonder what happened here. How did this happen, right? What could have been done to maybe stop this from actually happening? Which, we don't have the answer for that, but it is pretty insane that this has happened. Apparently, they're going to be doing another press conference in about a half hour from now, a little less than a half an hour from now. And of course, I'm sure we're going to still be on at that time. We'll make sure we go on and check it out, right? Zokilla, yeah, I mean, we're living in a whole true crime reality series. Yeah, we are. We're living in a wild time. To think that a explosive factory goes off, okay, claiming many lives is insane. Now, I know that somebody was like, oh, well, why he's chuckling when he answered that. I think it's because he said in the very beginning of it, which is around 7:45, something catastrophic happened. I can't give you anything more right now, guys, but I can give you just the basics of what we know so far. You know what I mean? And I think that that's fair. I think a lot of people are still trying to figure out what's going on. And I think he was kind of like, but like I said, guys, I don't know anything yet. I think that's his way of saying, I don't know a damn thing. I just pulled up to this catastrophic event, this cluster F. And I'm just trying to figure it out. Okay. Let me figure it out first. I'll be back. We going to chop it up and I'll let you know what's going on, because that's what it sounds like to me. Like, they have no earthly clue what happened here. Okay? No earthly clue over what's going on. Okay? So again, I think we just got to give them some time. This is a very stressful and a very traumatic and very, very sad situation. They got to find out who was in those buildings or in that particular factory. They got to figure out what actually happened here. They got to figure out why this even happened. And I think we're going to find out more information here in a little bit. And that's the thing. They may not know anything. They may not find out anything. If you really think about it, they may not know what the cause was. If it was some idiot that was just, ignited something on accident, or was it something that, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things to think about. And they may not know the actual answer, because everybody who had a chance to tell the story may be gone. You see what I'm saying? So again, I say give them the time so that they can assess what the hell's going on. But it does make you want to know what the hell's going on, and if there's anything more, any more updates. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. Let's see what they say here. Come on. Wow. This is the second explosion in 11 years at the facility, which is very interesting. So let's take a look at this article right here. So they say some have lost their lives in this explosion in Hickman County at this plant. Now, of course, like we saw in that video, it was felt miles away. So that's a massive, massive, massive situation. Here's the thing, though. Evolved Niche. Let me just say this. If there is camera footage, and the hub where they were getting the footage is inside that building, then the building's completely obliterated. I don't think we're going to get that footage. If the footage is captured and was only being captured from within the building. You see what I'm saying? So that's just something to think about too. There's a possibility that they were, off location capturing footage somewhere else. But there is a possibility that if there was the hard drive and all that stuff was still in that building, yeah, it's gone. If it survived, that'd be amazing. But you've seen the devastation. It like they said, is completely obliterated. Okay. So very interesting. Let's get into this. Okay. There's a few updates here. So Hickman County Emergency Services are warning people to stay away from the Bucksnort area after an explosion has taken the life of an unknown amount of people at this explosives manufacturing plant. So the plant is about an hour west of Nashville off of Interstate 40. Humphreys County Sheriff Davis spoke to the media at around 11 a.m., like we just saw. He says that he may be back on around noon Central Standard Time. So if he is on, we will be back on here to talk about it. Or, we'll switch over and check it out. Because obviously there's a lot of other stuff that's going on in the world that we are definitely going to be talking about here too. Okay. So this is, like I said, a cornucopia of different things that we're talking about today. But this is what's breaking right now. All right. He said a very devastating blast took place at 7:45 a.m. October 10th, today. It encompassed an entire building. Several people were unaccounted for, and some have lost their lives, Davis said. So he said the scene was secure. Small explosions around the scene are still possible, but no more massive ones. Are we sure about that? Are we sure about that 100%? I mean, I guess if it's been completely obliterated, I could see a few things that didn't catch fire, okay, or didn't get ignited may go off. But yeah, as far as massive boom booms, right? A massive boom happening again, I doubt it. Several agencies involved. The joint investigation will be led by Humphreys and Hickman counties because the explosion was right on the county line. ATF, TBI, and State Homeland Security were on the scene. The priority is the people involved, their families, and trying to be very compassionate toward them. Totally understandable, because there's people that still don't know if their family member was lost their lives in that actual explosion. So they still have to wait for that information too. You see what I'm saying? So again, pretty crazy stuff. Second explosion in 11 years at the facility. So there was another explosion that happened on April 16th, 2014 that took one life and injured three. A response team with the Bureau of Alcohol, or the ATF, okay, was sent to the site the next day to investigate. The very next day, 11 years ago. So it must not have been that big of an explosion. You know, obviously it was definitely a more minor event, not like what we're seeing right now, not to the likes that we're seeing right now, for sure. Okay. Infinite Content, I appreciate you sending it my way. But yeah, we were already live, baby. Okay. About this, which is crazy. Explosion heard miles away. So Bianca Holt, all right, a Nunelli, I think, resident, told the Tennessean that the explosion, quote unquote, shook their house nearly 14 miles away from the explosion. Holt also said her electricity has been out since the incident. So Hickman County Mayor Bates told the Tennessean just after 10:30 a.m. that he has not received confirmation of any injuries or fatalities. The explosion impact was felt by Bates' wife, who was working at her home office in Lyles, Tennessee, about an hour away. It's an unfortunate event. It was felt around our country, or our county, I'm sorry. Bates said that his office has received several calls from residents who felt the ground shake with plumes of smoke coming from the scene. We just pray that the good Lord keeps their hand on the families that's involved. That's what Bates said. Emergency workers are asked to have asked people to stay away. The sheriff's office asked people to minimize non-emergency calls to their office and 911 so they can focus on the situation at the plant. I mean, that's going to be tough. I mean, if you have a heart attack, you know, you got a heart attack. Come on. You know what I mean? Call 911. But if it's something like cat stuck in a tree, please don't call 911. All right. We got things to do over here, and there's some big things going on. That's crazy, though, right? You know, I don't know. Lay a pile of catnip at the base of the tree. The cat will figure out how to get down. Okay. So don't call if the cat is stuck in the tree. All right. Moving on. The sheriff's office asked to minimize those phone calls. They said, please avoid the area to allow emergency responders to do their work. If you are in the area, stay clear and follow the instructions from local authorities. So, okay. So this Bianca, sorry, Holt, a longtime resident of Nunnally, said she felt the blast at around 7:50 a.m. as she was getting ready for work. I thought I was going to die. It knocked stuff off my shelves. I thought we were at war or something. The facility in Bucksnort is about 10 to 15 miles away from our home. I was standing in my bedroom. It shook the whole house. I thought it was going to blow out my windows. It didn't. but that's how big it was. I've never been in an earthquake, but I thought that it was. I thought that's what it was. So again, we saw that video, and I mean, just that little shake, okay? Just that little shake like that, the camera, man, that's crazy that the camera by that particular person's home shook like that. That obviously shows you that, man, this was a big boom. And it's crazy that we don't have any footage, like camera footage of like the place just going off. Usually we have stuff like that, right? Usually there's somebody Snapchatting or Instagram story, whatever, or doing something, you know what I mean? Their kids playing soccer outside the front lawn, and all of a sudden, boom, they just see you know what I mean? There's a big explosion captured in the background or something like that, right? And we don't see that. Which is very, very interesting. And I just don't know if we're really going to find out truly how this went down. I don't think we're going to get a full answer. If there's no camera footage, and the camera footage from inside the building is captured and held within inside the building that just went off, we're not going to see it, because that stuff is completely obliterated as well, right? So it'll be interesting. But what is Accurate Energetic Systems? They were established in 1980, specializing in the creation of high-grade explosives for demolition, according to its website. They make linear-shaped charges to claymore mines. We are dedicated to the development, manufacturing, handling, and storage of high-quality energetic products utilized in both defense and commercial markets, the website says. The facility is on 1,300 acres with 8 production buildings and a quality control lab. Our manufacturing facilities are designed with environmental control systems to ensure optimal conditions for the production of high-quality energetics and explosives. And again, like we just read that part, of course, right? So about a dozen people were in the building at the time of this explosion that happened in 2014. The specific building was operated by Rio Ammunition, which made ammunition for hunting, law enforcement, and the military. Officials reported that the building was pretty much destroyed in that explosion. So the ATF investigated that actual explosion. So again, this is some very wild and interesting stuff. Devastating stuff indeed. I'm just checking to see if there's any more updates in regards to this, because this is some crazy, crazy stuff. Let's see. Yeah, like I said, there's not a whole lot of information. There really isn't a whole lot of information, which is kind of crappy, because you'd think that there'd be crazy coverage on this, and there really isn't much. So in the meantime, this gives us an opportunity while because they should be having another press conference here very, very shortly, in about 15 or so minutes. That's what at least they're saying. We'll see if that's actually 110% true. But let's not hold our breath over it, because they're still doing a whole lot of investigation, and of course trying to figure out what the hell happened here, because this is crazy. Like I said, this is absolutely crazy. Yeah, I don't know if this is like I said, we don't know if this is like some sort of accident or if this was like a premeditated attack. We don't know that. But the world has gone bananas. The world has we are living in a mad world. We are most definitely living in that. I mean, I think we can all agree on that. Okay. Real quick, we're going to go and look at a few more things, but I want to get these super chats and these new members and all that. So let me get these here really quick. Holly, thank you so much for becoming a member. Thank you. And Melissa, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family, both of you guys. If you're re-upping or regardless, I do appreciate you just coming back or becoming a first-time member. I really do appreciate it. And just like those two, please consider hitting that join button and supporting the channel if you can. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. And again, I do highly recommend you guys going over to my Facebook page, following my Facebook page. If you do the Facebook thing, if you don't, I understand. No pressure, but there is a lot of information, updates, news articles that I'm writing and posting on there as well. That some things I just don't have time to do videos on all the time. So I'll put out the article, whatever's breaking, all that stuff. So make sure you're following me on my Facebook page as well. So the Pascal Show on Facebook, okay? Mimi, I'm shopping with my fam. Well, first off, thank you so much for the super chat. And of course, congratulations. I'm glad you're able to do that. Not a lot of us get to do that very often. So real talk. Hopefully you're enjoying shopping with your fam. Allie, thank you so much for the love. This happened an hour west of Nashville. Yep, like we just read in that article as well. Thank you so much for that information. Paul, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Okay. But let us continue on because there's more. Okay. There's more info, baby. And we're going to go right into it as well. Let's take a look at this. So they're saying breaking 19 people are missing after major explosion at this Tennessee explosives factory. Okay. Today, the blast was reported just before 8 a.m., like we already talked about. And here's the Skyview footage, some Skyview footage of what happened here. Let's take a look. There's no sound, but look at the devastation, y'all. This is no joke. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Crazy. Did I say crazy? But yeah, it's done. Yeah, Jose. Okay? It is gone. I would be shook, and I hate to say this, but I would be shook if anyone survived this. I would be absolutely shook. But I'm hopeful. Wilder things have happened. Wilder things have indeed happened. Crazy. Yeah, everybody's pretty much sharing the same footage. And that's what sucks, because the footage here is not much. There's not a whole lot, guys. It's just the same kind of footage, but take a look.
I'll pan up and show you that.
Let me roll this back to the beginning here real quick.
A munitions plant. You can see I-40 off to
Crazy.
on our screen. We're currently about 3 minutes away from the location. We noticed shortly after takeoff from John Toon a large plume of smoke. I'll pan up and show you that. This is reportedly at the Accurate Energetic munitions plant.
Wow.
Hickman, Humphreys County line. It has been confirmed by first responders.
Sorry, I need to pause right here. Let me just roll that back just a little bit. Take a look at that. What happened here? That's the one thing, Chloe's mom, I'm trying to figure out that too. How many employees were working, right? Look at that. Just, I need to pause it here because I need you guys to soak this in. This used to be a building. This used to be a factory, right? You know what, Nicole B, that's a good question. Let me see if I could Google that really quick. See what the building looked like before, right? But this is insane. Okay? This used to be a building. This used to be a factory. Now, gone. What happened here that would make everything go off like this? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, like I said, I'm not sitting here saying anything, nefarious. I'm not trying to wear the tinfoil hat or anything of that sort. But I am asking the question, okay? I am asking the questions because I think that's fair to ask the doggone question. How did this go down? Right? The whole building going off. I can see like a part of it, the side of a building. You see what I'm saying? But a whole building just going boom, boom like this, complete obliteration. This looks like, and because we've been saying obliterated a lot, so it makes me think of the whole Israel-Iran thing, right? It's almost as if a B-2 bomber flew over one, googoosh. There's nothing here. Completely obliterated. You see what I'm saying? It's insane. How did this happen? Let me see here. I'm going to play it to the beginning. Let me see if I can find this
Munitions plant. You can see
place.
I-40 off to the left on our screen. We're currently about 3 minutes away from the location. We noticed shortly after takeoff from John Toon a large plume of smoke. I'll pan up and show you that. This is reportedly at the Accurate Energetic munitions plant near the Hickman-Humphreys County line. It has been confirmed by first responders.
Crazy.
And we can confirm it here just based on
What the heck is
this large plume of smoke. As we get closer to the scene, we'll show you a munitions plant. You can see.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find the.
Off to the left on our screen. We're
No.
about 3 minutes away from the location. We noticed shortly after takeoff from John Toon a large plume of smoke. I'll pan up and show you that.
The heck?
This is reportedly at the Accurate Energetic munitions plant near the Hickman-Humphreys County line. It has been confirmed by first responders.
That's interesting.
And we can confirm it here.
Hold on, let me see.
Based on this large plume of smoke.
Because I'm looking for it.
We'll show you a munitions plant. You can see I-40 off to the left on our screen. We're currently about 3 minutes away.
Accurate Energetic Systems.
We noticed shortly after takeoff from John Toon a large plume of smoke. I'll pan up and show you that.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get the. They're being very strange about.
This is reportedly at the Accurate Energetic munitions plant near the Hickman-Humphreys County
Try that.
line. It has been confirmed by first responders. And we can confirm it
Dang.
based on this large plume of smoke as we get closer to.
Okay. So you see this, right? You see the space. The area. So allegedly, let me pull this up so you guys can see this too. Allegedly, this is what the building looked like before. If I have the place correct, this is captured on a different day, but take a look. This is allegedly where. Yep, sounds about right. This is the area. These are the buildings. So a building. I mean, damn. Damn. Building number 6. So, Bobby, just so I understand this properly, Because Bobby just said, yep, that's it. Building number 6. Is building number 6 this whole thing right here? Let me go a little bit closer, just so I understand a little bit better. You know what I mean? Because that's a whole lot of, I mean, there's 2 buildings here, right? There's 2 right here. So this one right here is building number 6, this whole doggone thing. I'm assuming it's this whole doggone thing right here, right? Not all of this, right? But that whole doggone thing is gone. Like when we saw that footage, all of it's gone. Yeah, all of it's gone. Holy poop on a stick. Jeez Louise. Hold on. I know everybody's like, zoom out, go left. Hold on. Take a look. I mean, I'm zooming out. This is literally the area. This is where, and they're literally right here. It says right here, Accurate Energetic Systems LLC explosion right here. So this bad boy gone. This whole building, this whole area completely obliterated. Christ. This looks like parking lot, just parking spots. You look over here. Obviously, this is a building. We got another building here. Hold on. Let me get some more information here really quick. It's interesting because they say the address to where this happened is not publicly available, but news reports confirm the company operates in this area and specializes in military explosives. The company's Facebook page states it manufactures, which we already know about all that stuff. Okay. So if this is where it all went down, no matter what, this building somebody said zoom way out. Talking about this one right here. I can see what you're talking about. I can see that too. Farther? Oh, you're talking about this one right here. Do I have this correct now? Okay. Still, no matter what, that's a massive building. And yeah, I see the circle, like the curved driveway. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yay. Sorry it took a minute, guys. Sorry it took a minute. Oh, sleep deprived. But you get what I'm saying, okay? Crazy, right? Crazy. No matter what, you know what I mean? Because I know some people would be like, no, it's over here. No, it's over here. No, blah, blah, blah. Regardless, this is a pretty damn big building. And that is all gone. Let me show you what I mean. Let me make sure I have it all together so you guys can see for yourselves. Oh, keep thinking I'm looking at a. Yeah, this is the one. So this is most definitely this. Oh, most definitely. This is the building. Boom. There it is. Okay. Whoop. There it is. Okay. This is the building. Have mercy. Have mercy.
Energetic munitions plant near the Hickman-Humphreys County line. It has been confirmed by first responders, and we can confirm it here just based on this large plume of smoke. As we get closer to the scene, we'll show you a munitions plant, energetic munitions plant near the Hickman-Humphreys County line. It has been confirmed by first responders, and we can confirm it here.
Man, that's crazy. That is crazy, y'all. Whoo! Crazy stuff, y'all. Just gonna be completely real. That is some scary. We're living in some volatile times. We're living in some crazy times. Everything is absolutely insane right now. And I just can't believe. And I know people are already going to be asking questions of, did this have anything to do with, is this something sinister going on? Is there something else connected? Is there, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. And I get it. There's going to be questions, but at the same time, all we can do is wait for police and, you know, ATF and all the law enforcement that is banding together to figure this whole thing out. All we can do is wait for them to give us more information. Because again, like I said, anyone who would be able to tell the story of seeing what actually happened inside that building, they're all gone. I'm sorry to say that. This wasn't like some small incident that happened on the side of the building. The whole building went off. So again, if somebody said, no, don't touch that, and maybe the person that was nowhere near the blast didn't hear anything, right? Or like heard it, right? And was able to live to tell the story. We're not getting that story here because the whole thing is completely gone, right? Whole thing's completely obliterated. The only thing we can hope for is that they were doing and recording things off-site. Okay? Sergeant Broke, you savage, bro. Oh my God. Yeah. And Candace Owens knows who did it. Okay. I probably have a video for you guys on Candace Owens coming up here very soon too, which is also, man, insane. All right. But still, nonetheless. All right. Clearly, if anybody was able to see anything or be able to report this, would be a miracle. Okay. That whole place is gone. Whole place is gone. So how did this whole thing go down? We don't know. Obviously, there's going to be a press conference from them very soon. Allegedly, hopefully they will be doing one during the course of this particular live, so we can get a little bit more information. And you're hoping that they were recording things off site, like recording all the security cam footage, all that stuff, just in case ish hits the fan. Clearly, it's an explosive manufacturing building. So you're hoping that they were smart enough to be like, yes, all the stuff is being recorded off-site. Just in case something bad happens, we can actually see, you know, people can do their investigation and find out what actually happened here. Okay. But it does not look like it was something like, because I know some people are going to say, oh, yeah, you know, it's Russia, you know, Russia doing this. Oh, you know. I don't think it's that. If, you know, from the explosion itself, it does not look like something flew over and just dropped something. I feel like if we would see the remnants of something being dropped from above, if that makes any sense, right? So it's definitely not that. Either somebody walked in there and wanted to do something bad and did something catastrophic, or this was a full-on mistake. And I don't know. We'll find out what happened. Okay. Let me see if there's any more updates. We're gonna stick around. Of course, please stick around. We got some things we're gonna be talking about on top of what's going on here. But of course, we are still wanting to know what the hell happened here and if there's any more updates in regards to this here. They're saying still right now 19 unaccounted for. Okay. Casualties reported after this explosion at this Tennessee manufacturing spot or plant. Let's see. I mean, they're pretty much saying the same stuff. Excuse me. They're pretty much saying the same stuff over and over and over again right now, which, obviously they're trying to figure things out. Of course, they're trying to contact family, the next of kin, and all of that. Okay. And of course, if there's more information, we're going to, hopefully there's going to be a press conference here soon. I'm going to keep an eye on that for sure. But nonetheless, we need to talk about the things that are going on today, elsewhere as well. There's a bunch of stuff that's going on, and we need to talk about that. First, before we go into Pam Bondi making a statement about the, I guess she's highlighting efforts to stop the political violence that's going on in the streets. All right, we do need to cover or talk about what's going on. Right, there's a lot of craziness that's been going on. And real quick, hold on, I had something up and I accidentally took it down. Hold on. So here's the thing. Some updates on what's going on real quick. And of course, before we get into this, of course, again, I'm sorry, just really quick. Please hit that like button down below. I see a bunch of y'all in here and I appreciate you guys and I appreciate your energy. So please make sure you're hitting that like button down below. If we can get it to 1K, that'd be dope. All right. That'd be fantastic. Of course, with the explosion, we're keeping an eye on that. Don't worry. When there's a press conference, we will be talking about that here or seeing that very, very soon. But one thing is for sure, I need to give you guys these updates because these things matter. Okay. This stuff is really going on. Like a lot of crap is going on. People are very concerned, especially with how everything is being handled in these other cities like Chicago, like Portland, soon to be. Allegedly, they're saying boots on the ground with National Guard in Memphis, Tennessee. So we'll see what comes of that as well. But these are things that we need to be seeing. Okay, these are things that we need to know what's going on. These are all very, very serious things that are going on, and how these cities and these states are handling these situations are very important. And we need to keep an eye on these things because it could happen. These same things could be happening in your state. If they're not already happening in your state, these things do matter. Okay. Regardless of what side of the fence you are on, we all need to know what the hell's going on and how they're doing these things, how they're handling these things. These things matter because it could change the trajectory of your life if things go a certain way. And I get it. This is why I love having this platform and having these chats with the likes of all of you. Okay. Because not everyone agrees with it, with the troops being brought in. And not everybody agrees with the troops being kicked out, right? But nonetheless, it is something that we all need to keep an eye on because it matters for all of us as civilians here and citizens here in this country. So I got to give you guys these updates because these things matter. All right. We just found out yesterday they had a hearing yesterday that, where the judge heard both sides, right? Where the prosecution's like, hey, we do not need troops in Chicago. We do not need National Guard Texas National Guard in Illinois, period. Same thing was happening. They had a hearing out in Portland as well. It's been pretty crazy, okay? But the judge said, you know what? I'm going to think about it after the hearing. He heard both sides. The defense basically said, which is, of course, the people who are wanting the government, wanting the troops to be brought in. They said, well, we have every reason. There's plenty of reasons to have them in here. We got these protesters. They're a menace to society. They're Terrys. They're this, that, and the third. And then, of course, the prosecution was like, no, we don't need this. They on crack. What crack are they smoking? We are doing just fine. We do not need them here. Like we don't need ICE being here, right? So the judge later says, after this whole thing, said, you know what? I need to think about this. I need to go into my chambers filled with leather-bound books, smelling of rich mahogany and vanilla, and puff on my pipe as I ponder what's going on. And now they have come up with their decision. They have temporarily blocked Trump's administration from sending the National Guard troops to Chicago. But by the way, National Guard troops who are Texas National Guard troops, not Illinois National Guard troops, they're already there. They're already in Chicago. So I'm wondering how this is going to go from this point on, because this just happened where he said, you know what? Nah, I'm good. I'm good, homie. We going to block this because I don't think it's constitutional. Okay? It's going against the Constitution. This ain't right. Blah, blah, blah. Right? Says the judge said the administration directives violate the Constitution and would, quote unquote, only add fuel to the fire that the defendants themselves have started. So again, that is coming from the judge that was presiding over this whole hearing. This is what came out of his own mouth. Nah, we good, homie. Y'all are violating the Constitution. And honestly, y'all are throwing logs and possibly kerosene to a fire that you started. Y'all are the ones who are still standing here right next to this fire that was started, holding the doggone match. And now you want to throw a whole thing of kerosene and more logs to the fire? Nah, we good, bro. Nah, we good. This is coming from the judge that was presiding over this hearing. This is crazy. So let's take a look at this, right? Hold on, let me get this out of the way. A judge in Chicago on Thursday issued a temporary restraining order blocking the deployment of National Guard troops in Illinois, finding that the Trump administration's directive violates the Constitution and, quote unquote, like I said earlier, only add fuel to the fire that the defendants themselves have started. I'm sorry, I got to hit that dun dun dun. Yeah, love over hat. I'm sorry. Yeah, they my dogs are going. Woo, woo. They going. Wow. That that judge is hella grimy. You know what I mean? That judge grimy. Okay, howling at the moon. All right, crazy. This is crazy, and it is wild that we're even in this world, that we're even talking about this. Real talk. That the judge went in and said, "Nah, we good." Nah, this is violating stuff, and actually, you to blame. You guys are the blame, not these crazy, as you call them, Terrys that are out here in these streets. Oh no, they're not. It's not their fault. It's y'all's. You're the ones holding the match and that bucket of gasoline. Ain't that crazy? Okay. Did I spell explosion wrong? What? Oh, in my thing. Thank you. I'll fix it. Did I? Let me see. Oh, wow. I said expulsion. Let me fix that real quick. Oh dear God. Dear God. I was typing it so fast. Okay? But thank you. Thank you. Many thank yous. I'll fix that here in a second. But diggity dang. Okay? Um Come on, yo. Okay. I'll fix that in just a minute. But moving on. Those things happen when it's break, like when you got breaking news that was happening. You know what I'm saying? Breaking news, you're like, oh, snap. You try to make it change the things really quick on the Audible. But anyway, moving on. He said, you guys are the blame. Okay. Very interesting. In handing down her order, the U.S. District Judge, April Perry, also ripped the Department of Homeland Security's factual accounts of crime its agents have been encountering recently, citing judicial findings in other cases over the past 2 days in that agency has been using quote unquote unreliable evidence. Now, I don't know if you guys have been seeing the footage out here, but they're making it seem like these protesters are just being they're wilding out. They're absolutely monsters. Okay, this is exactly what they're pointing or painting out here, trying to make people look like they're the worst ever. When in actuality, man, I'm seeing footage of them doing the cha-cha slide. I'm being serious. Slide to the left, slide to the right, crisscross. Everybody, clap your hands. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Dudes walking up and singing, songs. Let's just say their own parody songs and stuff like that. Okay? You got people in blow up animal costumes just dancing randomly in front of these agents. Yes, we're seeing people getting into scuffles for sure with ICE agents, but at the same time, ICE is winning. When it comes to that stuff, all they got to do is pull out the militarized pepper spray, that damn peppers, and go, psst, and it's a wrap, son. Now, cha-cha, y'all. You know what I mean? Come on now. But it's true. You can see this footage. And so this judge is like, yo, you guys are putting out saying things that aren't entirely true. You're putting out information that isn't entirely true. Those accounts cast significant doubt on the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security's credibility on what's really going on in the streets of Chi-Town. This is crazy. Perry delivered her order after an hours-long hearing in which she appeared frustrated at times. As a lawyer for the DOJ couldn't answer questions about what exactly the National Guards would be authorized to do. That is a massive question. And I'm not calling Chi-Town Chirac. Nah, it ain't Chirac. Okay? Chirac, great show. Okay? I don't know if y'all remember that show, but that was a great show, Chirac. Or movie. I think it was a movie, but great movie, right? But at the same time, Chirac is not Chi-Town. Chicago is Chicago. Yes, it has its issues. But what metropolitan city doesn't have their problems? Okay? Let's be real. So Perry said she would issue a written decision Friday elaborating on her reasoning for the restraining order. So Governor Pritzker praised the ruling on X, saying Donald Trump is not a king and his administration is not above the law. Today, the court confirmed what we all know. There is no credible evidence of a rebellion in the state of Illinois and no place for the National Guard in the streets of American cities like Chicago. Now, the mayor of Chicago also lauded the judge's findings. There's no rebellion in Chicago. There are just good people standing up for what is right. The judge established that the Trump administration is unreliable. They lie, misrepresent, and put people in danger. We will continue to use all of the tools at our disposal to end the Trump administration's war on Chicago. Of course, they reached out for when reached for comment on the ruling Thursday. The White House focused its criticism on Pritzker. So not just like, okay, they right, we were wrong. They right. Okay. Nah, they didn't do that. Instead, they went after Pritzker. So the DOJ appealed the ruling later Thursday, saying, amidst ongoing violent riots and lawlessness, that local leaders like Pritzker have refused to step in to quell. President Trump has exercised his lawful authority to protect federal officers and assets. This is what the Abigail Jackson, the White House spokesperson, said in a statement. President Trump will not turn a blind eye to the lawlessness plaguing American cities, and we expect to be vindicated by a higher court. So the DOJ did not immediately, the DHS, did not immediately respond to a request for comment Thursday night on the judge's ruling. The case was one of two involving Donald Trump's deployment of the National Guard in the states, with Democratic leadership that do not want them there. In the other case, a three-judge appeals court panel in California appeared likely to be willing to grant the administration's request to pause a lower court ruling that blocked its efforts to deploy the National Guard to the streets of Portland, Oregon, with one of the judges suggesting the president's decision-making should get more deference. One of the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals judges in the Portland case said they would try to issue a ruling as soon as possible, but did not give a time frame. In the Chicago hearing, Perry seems skeptical of some of the Justice Department's claims about the need to deploy the Guard in the country's third most populous city, and questioned whether protests around an ICE facility had gotten violent because of how federal agents were treating protesters. She also pressed the DOJ, or the lawyer of DOJ, on what the Guard would be doing in Chicago and whether members would be armed. What are they being trained and deployed to do? The judge asked at one point, while also noting the perimeters of their duties are vague. I'm very much struggling to find where this would stop, Perry said. Hamilton said, the lawyer for the DOJ, said they were being deployed on a federal protective mission, but that he did not know what the exact duties would be. At least he was being honest about that. During oral arguments in the Portland case, the judges, two Trump appointees and a Clinton appointee, expressed concerns about the ability of a lower court judge to make decisions about a military deployment, and suggested that the city and state had not shown enough deference to the president, which is also interesting. It just seems like it seems a little counterintuitive to me that the city of Portland can come in and say, no, you need to do it differently. This is what Judge Nelson said, one of Trump's nominees. This is what they said. So the attorney for Oregon, Chaffin, said a presidential difference, quote unquote, has a limit. And that limit is this case. That's because Trump's rationale for calling up the troops, including that Portland is war ravaged, is quote unquote untethered to facts, she said. Now remember, this is the same one, okay? Like, this is the same situation where a judge blocked the National Guard from being able to go in there and do some things in Portland, right? Obviously, there's a lot going on, and I think this is ridiculous that they say that it seems a little counterintuitive to me that the city of Portland can just come in and say no, and that's it. Basically, you need to do it differently. Well, if the city of Portland just came in and said no, then yeah, they should be able to do that. It's the same thing as Chicago. Chicago's doing the same damn thing. They're saying hail to the no. In fact, you got the governor being like, no, don't show up to Chicago. Don't even waste your time. In fact, isn't the deployment of the National Guard in the power and in the hands of that state's governor? Isn't that supposed to be in the hands and in the power of the state's governor? Not the president of these United States? Just something to think about. Just something to think about. So if the governor, let's just say, if the city, the mayor of Portland, and the governor, let's just say, of Oregon say, hell no, step off, right? That's what they should be listening to, right? What's also really jacked up about this situation, if you really think about it, you have Texas, the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, okay, going out of his way to be like, yep, go ahead and take my National Guard up there to these other places. His National Guard in Texas, his Texas National Guard is there for Texas, not for other states. You understand that's crazy, right? You understand that's crazy. And if the governors of their respective, that they're elected into their specific position of influence and power, okay, from that state, if they say, hey, we don't need National Guard. In fact, stand down, my state's National Guard. Stand down. Take several seats. Put your $5 ass down. Sit your $5 ass down before I make change. Right? That's what should be happening. But instead, I'm just trying to peep you on game, guys. But instead, we got Texas mobilizing, federalizing, and mobilizing his own troops, National Guard, to other states where Texas National Guard has no business sticking their nose in other people's lives, other states' issues. They shouldn't be doing this. But instead, that's what's happening. In fact, they were also deputizing and federalizing, mobilizing other people that wanted to join the National Guard so that they could be deployed into our own country, into these states that have already said to their own National Guard, stand down. How is that even possible? How is that even possible? Remember this again. The governor of respective states have control on whether or not to deploy the National Guard in their own states. They have the power to do that for their state. Real talk, don't get mad. I'm just saying something that's factual. And then now we see what's going on with Texas coming in, and now they got boots on the ground in Chicago. I'm sure, and they're going to be boots on the ground in Memphis, Tennessee, okay? Marching in Memphis, you know what I mean? They're going to be over there here in a second. That's supposedly supposed to happen today, where Memphis is supposed to have National Guard in the city of Memphis. Now, I don't know what the governor of Tennessee has said. We haven't heard much about that. We haven't heard his or their reaction, what the governor has said about, National Guard being deployed in Memphis. I'm assuming they said, fine, do it. Clean up the streets. But when you have other states that are basically saying, no, chill out, sit down, don't do nothing. And they're trying to go over the governor's demands. It's a recipe for disaster, y'all. It's a recipe for disaster. Now, I just want to remind you, because this is very important. All right? Trump did say in one of his statements, and remember when he brought in all of the top brass, all at Quantico, and you had Pete Hegseth up there going, I need fine asses. I need all your asses to be taut and tight, and then buy my book. Don't forget to buy my book. Buy my book, but I need tight asses. I'm tired of seeing these flabby butts and these flabby stomachs. I need six packs and tight asses, right? For the most part, and then buy my book, right? Trump went up after that. I mean, be real. He really did say that. I mean, it was insane. I need, y'all need to be looking like models up there. All these fat mother lovers, slim down. I need tight asses, right? So, after he did all that and said, buy my book, Trump went up here, and I just want you to hear this one more again. He said out loud, he said out loud that the enemy is from within.
Thrilled to be here this morning to address the senior leadership of what is once again known around the world as the Department of War. Together with many of you in the room, we've brought back the fundamental principle that defending the homeland is the military's first and most important priority. That's what it is. Only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia, while America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms. But we are under invasion from within. We're stopping it very quickly. After spending trillions of dollars defending the borders of foreign countries, with your help, we're defending the borders of our country from now on. But we're running it based on common sense and based on love of our country. But I want to salute every service member who has helped us carry out this critical mission. It's really a very important mission. And I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. Because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid governor, stupid. We have many cities in great shape too, by the way, I want you to know that. But it seems that the ones that are run by the radical left Democrats, what they've done to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places. And we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war too. It's a war from within. Portland, Oregon, where it looks like a war zone. And I get a call from the liberal governor. Sir, please don't come in. We don't need you. I said, well, unless they're playing false tapes, this looked like World War II. Your place is burning down. I mean, you must be kidding. Sir, we have it under control. I said, you don't have it under control, Governor, but I'll check it. And I'll call you back. I called her back. I said, this place is a nightmare. We're investing tens of billions of dollars in modernizing our nuclear deterrence capabilities like never before. And we've begun construction on what we call the Golden Dome missile defense shield. It'll be the most sophisticated in the world. You watched it do well until they had some problems at the end with a little bit of a lack of ammunition, defensive ammunition, but they've got that taken care of.
So again, he's talking about other stuff here now, but I just want to say this. Last I checked, before ICE was deployed into Portland, just for example, I didn't really see any footage where there was riots in the streets or anything burning. Seemed fairly peaceful for the most part. Yes, there's been demonstrations, but no buildings up in flames. Like, I keep thinking that he is still looking at stuff that happened years ago. That he's looking at things online or looking at things on his phone, and he's getting stuff that happened like 4 years ago. And in his mind, he's still thinking like, yo, it's an absolute war zone in Portland. And then when you look at what's going on right now, yeah, it looks bad right now because ICE is out there and people are pissed about that, right? Remember what happened a couple, 4 some odd years ago? Bad. Remember Chaz? Remember that ish? All that stuff that was going on out there in the northern western area was really, 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 really bad. But not now, or not before ICE was brought in. ICE was brought in, and now you got protests out in the streets and people very angry. Now you're seeing the tear gas and the pepper balls and all that, militarized pepper spray being used and all that. Let's be real, okay? He's looking at stuff that he's seen several years ago, and he still has that playing in his mind. That's crazy. That's crazy. So again, I want to make this abundantly clear. Just a quick trip down memory lane. He said, the enemy is from within. Let me repeat that again. He said, the enemy is from within. It's bad that we have domestic terrorists out here. This is what he's claiming right now. Domestic terrorists. And the way that they're doing right now, they're putting out these videos, they're putting together all this stuff, right? They're doing these compilation videos and making it seem like, these particular people, these people that are out there protesting, for the most part, pretty peaceful, are basically getting attacked and being labeled as domestic terrorists. That's wild. Wild. And so, of course, you see the demonstrations and people out here talking and protesting, using their right to speak. But, I got to show this to you too. President Trump saying in his own words, this happened just the other day, he had a whole conversation with a bunch of people that are on the right, okay, that are on the, boots on the ground, doing a lot of coverage in these protests, and some of them have been part of things that were really volatile back in the day, okay. Covering the things that have turned into riots, that were everything that spanned from the spectrum of just peaceful protests to absolute riots. Let's be real. There have been riots and there has been crazy stuff going on in the past. Okay. These particular reporters have covered those things. these journalists, a lot of them are internet digital journalists. They have done their fair share of coverage on all this stuff for sure. Both sides, right? Both sides. They've seen, or within the whole spectrum, absolute violence and mayhem to peaceful protesting. They've seen it all. But he had a whole meeting with them. Okay, he had a whole meeting with these guys, speaking about how Antifa is the devil, right? They're terrible, all that stuff. He basically said out loud that that is the enemy from within. It is Antifa. Any person that represents that, any person that's out there protesting, etc., is a domestic terror. I'm going to show this to you guys. Okay? We got to take a look at this too. And this is crazy. Like I said, here's the thing. First and foremost, he's now sitting here saying that he said out loud that they took away the freedom of speech. We took the freedom of speech away. He literally says this. Okay? He literally said this. Let's take a look at this. Which, by the way, let me preface this really quick before we go into this video. I want to make this abundantly clear. All right? Burning a flag, I don't condone that. But it is protected by the Constitution. That is protected by the Constitution, y'all. So if somebody wants to burn a flag, I don't condone it. But if they do, and suddenly they're getting charged or thrown in and hit with federal charges for exercising their constitutional right, then something's wrong here. I want to make that abundantly clear. That's not good. Remember what we have, our Constitution. We have certain things that we should stay reliant on. And these are things that were implemented and made for hundreds of years to protect the American citizen for being able to speak or live their lives in the best way possible. But when you start saying, oh, well, if you burn the flag, you're getting thrown in jail and you're getting hit with charges, that violates that person's constitutional right. And until that flag part, for example, is literally agreed to and erased from the Constitution, all the people that are getting arrested, all the people that are getting in trouble, okay, all of them should be set free. Real talk. Freedom of speech, I completely agree, Lily Rose. Freedoms of speech is our fundamental right. And these things were made and created to protect every citizen out here. So like I said, I don't condone it. You won't see me burning a flag, okay? You won't see me doing that. Because honestly, I don't feel like I would never do it because it just doesn't feel right to me. But if you want to do it, that's your constitutional right, baby. Do you? I don't condone it, but you want to do it, go ahead. You won't see me standing next to a burning flag with the lighter and holding it with the lighter in my hand. Hell no, you won't see me doing that because it just doesn't feel right. Me as an American citizen, it just doesn't feel right. But if it's in your right to do that, it's your right to do that. Just like these extremists that are out here, these far extreme alt-right, insane white supremacists that are out here wearing the triple K and rocking the symbol of hate, the ultimate symbol of hate. All right, from Germany. All right, the Germans. I don't condone that, but it's their legal right. All I can do is go, I'm going this way. See you later. That's all I can do, right? But I do want to share this and show this to you guys because this is really real. Okay, I'm going to go to the end here. This is crazy.
I think our nation now is the most respected nation anywhere in the world by far. But thank you very much. Andy Ngo has been repeatedly beaten by Antifa, and including one assault that left him with a brain hemorrhage. Only days ago, Nick Sortor was assaulted in Portland by a flag-burning mob, and we've made it 1 year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through the courts, and the court said you have freedom of speech. But what has happened is when they burn a flag, it agitates and irritates crowds. I've never seen anything like it on both sides, and you end up with riots. So we're going on that basis. We're looking at it not from the freedom of speech, which I always felt strongly about, but never passed the courts. This is what they do, is they incite. When you burn an American flag, you incite tremendous violence. We have many examples of it, many examples of it, and it's actually down on tape, and you see things happen that just don't happen unless it's the flag that's burning.
Now, let me make this abundantly clear. There's been plenty of other situations where there's been hateful words, hateful rhetoric, people speaking in very terrible ways, right? That also incite violence. You realize that it's more than just a flag burning. There are other things that are going on out here that incite violence, that get people angry enough to do certain things. You say something and you rally the groups of people to maybe charge certain buildings on J6, or you say certain things out here from very extreme alt-right supremacist groups that are saying volatile and terrible things towards certain demographics and certain races. That also incites violence as well. Sure, there's a lot of people that go and they just turn a blind eye. They turn away and they ignore those types of groups. But at the same time, that's still inciting some type of violence as well. Are you going to stop that from happening as well? Because they're saying stuff that's even worse. They're saying things with their mouth. They're saying things out loud. They're getting aggressive. Burning a flag? Is that automatically starting riots in the streets? We've seen plenty of flags being burned or things getting burned in the middle of the streets. And then curfew happens and people go home. So again, stopping this is definitely a violation in my personal opinion.
Very recently, Katie Davis Court was hit in the face with a flagpole in Portland by an Antifa radical, leaving her with a very blackened eye. So, Katie, thank you very much. And I'd like to also say that I watched Nick. Where's Nick? Is Nick here? Right here. Nick. Hi, Nick.
Wait. Is Kanks? Okay, you guys have been watching that, listening to that podcast. I forgot what's the full name. Kanks is something Kanks Taco. I don't remember. McTaco. I don't remember. But anyway, crazy. Y'all are crazy. Let's continue. This is crazy.
That was a rough time you went through. I hope you got my little note. I wrote you a note.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. It helped a lot because it was a difficult situation. It was very stressful, and your note helped a lot. I truly appreciate it.
I thought it was terrible, actually. I thought it was terrible. So we'll talk about it a little bit at the end. Okay, Pam, please.
Thank you, President Trump. And as you made clear, Antifa is a domestic left-wing terrorist organization. We've seen them on video for years because they wanted to be seen and they got away with it. They beat journalists, they attack courthouses, they attack police stations, they dox and assault our law enforcement officers. The Biden administration let them commit these crimes with total impunity for years. So did Democrat leaders like Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson. Last week, independent journalist Nick Sortor was arrested just for protecting himself against Antifa. I saw it online and I called Nick. I couldn't believe what happened. He did all this just trying to save our American flag from being burned. He was pushed down and assaulted, yet the local police arrested Nick, not the Antifa thugs who did this to him.
Okay. So again, now, okay, I just want to make this abundantly clear because we're going to be hearing from Pam Bondi again here in just a little bit because she did a press conference, and we need to take a look at this for sure. But what I think is very interesting is, again, you got to remember, we live in this world where there's a cult of personality. Anything that is being said right now instantly is believed. As soon as Trump says, and I mean, let's be real, that is what we're seeing right now. As soon as he says, and that's the truth. Anybody with two brain cells working can see that as soon as he says something, it is truth. It could be a bold-faced lie, okay? It could be a bold-faced, mother-loving lie, but it's instantly believed. Remember the Tylenol situation? Don't take Tylenol. Remember that? Remember that whole situation? They said, take, I forgot, it was like Corvin or something like that. I forgot the word. But people are very quick to be like, look, my son's taking it right now. He has autism, and now he was nonverbal, and now he's starting to say words. Now, I don't know if it's entirely true or not. Okay, if they're absolutely correct or not, but at the same time, anything that's being said out here, suddenly it is scripture. And that can be very dangerous. Like saying a group of people that are out here protesting, instantly just blanketing a title on them and saying that they are Antifa and that they are domestic terrorists is wild. And what's so sad is that there's going to be a lot of people that believe this, that instantly believe this. Do you understand this, right? Instantly believe this. I want to make this abundantly clear. Apparently, fellas, okay, if you had a little trim as a kid, you might be autistic too. Now, let me just say this, okay? Let me just say this, okay? Because it's, to me, hilarious. But if you get a little chop, according to RFK Jr., if you got a little chop, with your weed whacker back in the day, and you got it a little too early, they're saying, that there's a link there, possibly because of the pain that you took, the pain that you received from, getting your tip trimmed off, that you had to take some Tylenol, acetaminophen. So therefore, there's a possibility, if you got just a little bit off the top, there's a possibility there's a link to possible autism for going and getting a circumcision. I mean, it does explain a lot, though. I mean, all these guys can now explain every time that they've only been thinking with their other head. They can basically say, baby, I think I'm autistic. I think that's what it is. Yep, that's what it is. I am autistic because I got that thing trimmed off and I just can't think. I'm just not thinking right, baby. Okay, I must be undiagnosed. All right, and yeah, I took too many Tylenol pills when I was a kid. You feel me? So, baby, I'm sorry. It was from the circumcision. It was from the circumcision. Come back. I'm autistic. You see what I'm saying? Every dude in their wayward wiener is now going to use that excuse. Damn it. I should have kept my foreskin. Literally. That's what's happening right now. Caught once again with my hand in the cookie jar again. Damn it. I shouldn't have been circumcised. Ma! Why? Right? I'm just saying. Maybe that's why all of us guys are just so, you know what I mean? Maybe that's instantly what it was, from the Tylenol, because we had to get, those of us that were, some of us are cut and some of us are uncut. Okay. It's kind of like, sure, unsure, remember that commercial? But again, those that are cut Those that are uncut, I guess we'll see the difference. No, that sounded weird. Hold on. I don't want to see the difference. I'm saying how we operate out here in these streets. Okay. Just saying. Cut, uncut, right? Suddenly, it could explain so much. No, it doesn't. Okay. Some of y'all guys are just straight up mutts. Okay. You go out there and you just want to stick it in everything. Has no connection to any of that stuff. Okay. You're just dumb and don't know how to honor your woman or your man, however you run in these streets. Okay. But at the same time, they said, I'm not kidding, RFK, the man, the myth, the legend, said himself that there's a connection to getting cut and autism. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, things like that are being backed and being hyped up by the hype man, Trump, not a good look. Because here's the thing. Everybody out here is now going to believe it. Oh, it must be true. I must have some, maybe I'm, have a bit of autism because I got clipped when I was a kid. Maybe that's what it was. Blah, blah, blah. You see what people are thinking, what these fellas are possibly thinking about right now? Damn acetaminophen. This is the world that we live in right now, guys. With all due respect, let me be real. Because I know some of y'all are going to be like, oh, you just bashing Trump too much. Well, here's the thing. I completely applaud him for the peace treaty, the ceasefire that's going on between Israel and Gaza. Finally, it's about doggone time. I gave him so much praise for that. I wonder if it's going to stick. And I want to see that actually go down because Gaza is oh my God. Gaza's in bad shape and we need those kids and those families to get nourished again, and they need the proper food and the proper help that they need. And I see a world of no peace, no war, right? I want to see a peace. I want to see peace in the Middle East. I want to see peace everywhere. I want to see peace in this country as well. All right. But we have to call out when things are strange. Doesn't matter if you're a supporter of Trump or not. I'd say the same doggone thing if this was Biden or Obama or anybody else that has ever been president. I'd be like, yo, bad, bad, bad. This is all ridiculous. This information, them saying that Antifa is domestic terrorists is wrong. Okay? Is wrong. Very much wrong. Hold on. Okay. So again, like I said, yeah, as soon as you see an N in the chat, block them. As soon as it's an N, you already know what's going to happen. Block them. Okay? All right, mods? I caught that one. And that's not a dig at y'all. I just caught it. So I was just, because I know this. As soon as we get into political conversation, there's always some mother lover that swings in and starts going, nee, as soon because they get in their feelings about whatever. Okay? So that's not a dig at you guys. It's all good. It's all good. But hate speech will not be tolerated on this platform, especially when you're trying to spell out a word each one. You're gonna get blocked. All right. But I caught that one. It's all good, guys. That you can't catch everything. I just know the pattern. All right. But moving on. She's sitting here going, they are domestic terrorists. Golly gee willikers. We need to blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. Where are the Epstein files? That's what I want to know. But instead, they are going ham with all this other BS. And by the way, we're going to have to take a look, okay? And Cat Lady, I love you too. Thank you. See, no, I catch love. I will catch love all the time, okay? But I also catch the racism too, okay? The hate speech. But I appreciate you, Cat Lady. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right. But there is something else like we're going to have to look at here in a little bit because we got to get into this press conference with Pam Bondi, okay? We can't not get into the Pam Bondi press conference that she just recently had. We heard this. He's basically saying that we took freedom of speech away. He literally said that during that press conference right here. Just a quick reminder, the one that we've had here, okay? He said that out loud. That's not good. And if you notice, that's what he's been trying to do over the past couple weeks. Ever since Charlie Kirk lost his life, there's been a lot of reaction and a lot of censorship going on and all that in regards to freedom of speech. Let's look at the stuff with what happened to Jimmy Kimmel and the other things that have been happening with teachers, doctors, lawyers, career people that just went on their platforms and said what they had to say about Charlie Kirk's demise. Real talk. I don't have to agree with it, but it's their right to speak their mind. Should they lose their jobs just because they spoke their mind about someone that they may not have appreciated? I don't think so. That's their right to speak. Okay. But like I said, if it's like they're caught on camera, putting their hands on people, putting their hands on loved ones, doing crazy things, doing violent, terrible things, okay, or that those words are backed up with violence as well, man, fire their asses, man. Fire all of them asses, period, okay? But at the same time, just because I don't agree with what they're saying, okay, does not mean that they don't have the right to say those things, right? That is their First Amendment right. All we can do is just choose to swipe up, right? Skip it. Keep it moving. But moving on, we got to get into this press conference that happened, okay? Because I think it's a good thing that we take a look at this here. So, she is highlighting efforts to stop political violence in these streets.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for being here. We've been living through a horrific cycle of political violence in this country. We've seen attacks against police officers, federal agents, including the deadly shooting in the ICE facility in Dallas. Night after night, Antifa wreaks havoc on our streets of our cities. In Minnesota, a gunman murdered a state lawmaker and her husband. It was horrific. An anti-Semitic lunatic tried to burn down Governor Shapiro's house while he was in it with his wife and young children. This week, authorities arrested a man outside a Catholic church in Washington, D.C., with hundreds of explosive devices. And on September 10th, our nation stopped in its tracks with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We miss him dearly. Unfortunately, I'm here today to talk about similar threats that were made against Benny Johnson and his wife, Kate. Benny's a well-known media personality, carrying a message very similar to Charlie's, grounded largely in faith and love of country. Just days after Charlie's assassination, Benny received a letter at his home where he and Kate are raising their beautiful, beautiful young family.
Okay, let me pause this really quick. First off, I didn't know it was going to be like this. So this is nuts. Nuts. Okay. If you don't know Benny Johnson from the Benny Show, okay, he's definitely a MAGA supporter. He is MAGA through and through. If you could see it within 5 seconds of watching his show. All right. He is definitely hardcore right. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what he believes in, if that's what he wants to cover, and if he wants to praise everything that the Trump administration is doing, that's his prerogative, right? That's his right as an American. It's wrong for people to be receiving, the likes of Benny Johnson, to be receiving any messages of any threats of any kind. I do not condone this. Okay, I would never condone something like this. This is terrible. Again, it doesn't matter if you like his work or don't like his work, right? Or what he covers. No matter what, no one should be getting that. Just like Charlie Kirk losing his life, he shouldn't have lost his life, right? All of these things, none of these things should have been happening. People threatening his wife and his kids, including himself, his whole family, that's insane. We should be better. We should be doing better. So that's crazy to me that this is going on. And yes, I've heard that same thing, Allie, that, he's like one step away from being Stephen Miller for sure with hair. Okay. But nonetheless, okay. Doesn't matter what we think. It's his right to have that platform and talk how he wants to talk. It's our choice and our right to listen to it or not, right? So again, and yes, both sides do it, right? Both sides do this, right? They get on one side and they only trash Trump for everything. Doesn't matter if Trump's doing anything good, they still trash it, right? We see it on both sides for sure. Okay, I don't want to say. I want to make that abundantly clear. Okay, but at the same time, when it comes to this is not good, right? And there are people that are getting threats on the opposing side too. Don't do that. It's dumb and it's a waste of time. Everyone should be able to live their lives, raise their kids, live a good life, whether or not they're on a microphone or not. Okay? So I don't condone this. This is bad.
The author of this letter made it very clear that he hated Benny because of his views, and he wanted Benny dead. This was a coward hiding behind a keyboard who thought he could get away with this. That's why we're standing up here today.
You got him, I guess, right?
You are not going to get away with threatening people in this way. And I'm proud to announce that we have arrested the author of this letter. George Isbell Jr. was taken into custody this morning, and we are charging him federally with mailing threatening communications. It is a crime, and if convicted, he is going to prison. This was incredible teamwork. Benny called me right away. Chief Burkall, thank you. You were on it right away. Matt Fodor and all the FBI agents. Thank you, U.S. Attorney Kehoe. All of the U.S. Postal Service, FBI, state and local law enforcement working together. This is what it's about. And we are going to catch you if you think you can do something like this. We don't care if you're across the country in California. We will find you, we will arrest you, we will extradite you, and we will bring you to justice. We cannot allow this political violence to continue any longer. This arrest will serve as a reminder to many. Do not do this. We will find you. Greg Kehoe is going to give some details of the incident, of the horrible crime, and we're not going to get into specifics of what's in the letter. It's pretty horrific, and it's now a pending case. But I just want to thank all of the law enforcement officers standing behind me. And I want to thank Benny and Kate for standing so strong and fighting for their views and not cowering in fear, but coming out and supporting their faith and their values. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Just preliminarily, I'm Greg Kehoe, the U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Florida. I just want to introduce some of the individuals that are here at the podium so you can put names to faces, and they have all participated in this. As the General has said, this was a coordinated effort. In my far right is Rodney Crawford. He's the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI. Next to him is Blad Rojo, who's the Inspector in charge for the Postal Service, and Mark Glass is behind me. right behind me, he is the commissioner of FDLE. And last but certainly not least is Chief Lee Burkaw of the Tampa Police Department. You know, often we talk about coordinated, organized efforts by law enforcement to get something done. And I will tell you, this is a textbook example of that. This letter came in to Mr. Johnson and his wife. They immediately contacted the Tampa Police Department. Lee Burkaw and his folks at Tampa Police Department got on this letter right away. Right away, pulled in the FBI, pulled in FDLE. The Postal Service was able to track where this letter was sent from in San Diego in a miraculously quick period of time. FDLE turned around the fingerprints that were obtained from the particular letter to identify George Russell Isbell on this matter, and there was an arrest by the FBI who was coordinating this outside the San Diego area in conjunction with the local U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI in San Diego, and last but not least, the San Diego Police Department. What we have here, and you can look at the complaint that has been filed and that is before you, is a vicious, horrific letter threatening Mr. Johnson and his family, sent to Mr. Johnson's house. In the complaint that you'll see, and also it attaches Isbell's letter, he is calling for the extermination of Mr. Johnson, that he should be strangled by an American flag, that he hoped somebody blows his head off, and then some vicious comments thereafter.
That's no bueno.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been at this podium many times before, and I say this and I say it again to echo what the Attorney General has just said and what the Attorney General has said throughout the country when similar instances have come up. Such conduct will simply not be tolerated.
Now, let me just point this out really quick. This is definitely a display of, let me show you, and let me send this message out to all you extreme leftists out there. They're using this as an example. They're using Benny Johnson's situation as an opportunity to send a warning to every person that's out there that wants to do bad things to right-leaning pundits, like right-leaning commentators, influencers, etc. Benny Johnson is definitely a right-leaning influencer, okay? Commentator, pundit, all right? Obviously, this is an opportunity to show to the general public that he has power as well, that he has he's connected enough to be like, I got one scary letter, and that was one scary letter enough. Now I'm going to use this as an example to show you guys that it will not be tolerated, and you will be brought to justice. Same thing as Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is using this as an opportunity as well. Hey, look, somebody sent a letter talking about saying, doing some bad things to him and his family. We're letting you guys know that we're not taking this lightly, and we will take you down. What happened to Charlie Kirk will never happen again under the Trump administration's guise, right? Under their visage. So again, this is them basically saying, watch out, you extremists out there. Don't be dumb, because we will get you. So yeah, they're using this as an opportunity to do a press conference. And honestly, we didn't really need the press conference, though. We really didn't. But they're using it as an opportunity to paint the picture of what we heard them say yesterday, which is we have domestic terrorists in this land, in this country. We have the enemy within. And those people are left extremists. And look at what they did with Benny Johnson. We just got that guy brought into justice. Another extremist from the left. You see what's going on here? It's marketing. And this guy, this dumbass, who decided to write a letter, a very threatening letter to Benny Johnson, is now being put up for display. And now he's going to be the spokesperson, at least until something else crazy happens. He's going to be the spokesperson or the mascot for all the bad things on the left side. Because the left is just extreme and just violent. That's literally what they're putting out here, guys. You see what I'm saying? You see, I don't know if a letter, especially if you're putting out violent threats in a letter, if you're violating and if you are literally sending a letter threatening somebody's life, yeah, freedom of speech goes out the window. Now you're breaking laws. You see what I'm saying? Freedom of press is one thing. Sending a letter straight to somebody and saying, I want to do X, Y, and Z to you, to your wife and your family and you yourself. Yeah, those are threats. Those are just straight up threats. And they should not be tolerated for sure. But they're using this as an opportunity to get it out there, send a message to all you extremists on the left. Careful. Don't even try it, buddy, because we will find you. We got the resources, and apparently Pam Bondi most definitely got the time. That's what she's saying right here. Let's continue.
It will not be tolerated. If you send a communication to anyone, anyhow, anywhere, where you are threatening individuals with harm, you will be prosecuted by the United States Department of Justice. And you will be prosecuted while we bring all of the joint assets of law enforcement, as you see here, the Tampa Police Department, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the United States Postal Service, and of course, coordinating this is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So the word should go out, and it should be no mistake that if you decide at any point, at any time, to write such a thing,
what did I say?
Send it over the wires, or in this instance, put it in the mails. You will be prosecuted, and you will be held accountable.
What did I just say?
Take a couple of moments. I know Mr. Johnson wants to say.
Of course, he wants to say something. Of course, Mr. Johnson wants to say something. But again, look, what did I just say? I want to make sure this is abundantly clear to all you people that want to do bad things. This is a perfect example of showing you guys we do not play. Step back, or you will be hit and tried to the fullest extent of the law. Benny?
Make a few comments, and I invite you to do so.
Thank you.
But Benny and the Jets.
Thank you, officer.
Benny! Benny and the Jets.
1 month ago today, I witnessed my friend of 10 years, someone who I considered a brother, a loving husband, a devoted father, a generational leader, get assassinated on a live stream by a left-wing radical. Approximately 1 year ago, I witnessed the President of the United States get shot in the head by a left-wing radical, who also took the life of a Trump supporter in front of his daughters and wife. 2 months ago, Christian children kneeling and praying in a church were slaughtered by a left-wing extremist. And 2 weeks ago, federal law enforcement was shot at multiple sniper rounds in a federal facility by a left-wing extremist. If it's happening every single week, is it that extreme? Or has the Democrat Party mainstreamed violence as a political tool?
Oh, dear God. Here we go.
The individual...
I'm sorry, I got to pause that. Come on now. You know, I would say the same thing if this was people saying, oh, the right wing, is this Republicans, is this MAGA being violent? Like, we can't always just say it's left and right. It's right or wrong. At the end of the day, it's right or wrong. Okay? You can't say, oh, blue and red and blue and blue and red. I mean, this is getting stupid. This is getting ridiculous. But like I said, they've already done this. They're already saying that the left is just violent. And that's all that they are. They're just known to be violent. We are, the left is just quick to be violent all the time. And now we're hearing that same type of rhetoric coming out of Benny. Now, I'm not surprised this coming from Benny, to be completely honest, but I do think it's a little bit irresponsible. I'll just be real. Sure, you got somebody who's extreme that sent you something that's not cool, but you can't automatically say every left-leaning person just wants to send letters to every single person on the right. Some left-leaning people have things to do, like pay bills and go to their job and live their life and be happy. A lot of people on the left and the right, for the most part, just want to live their lives and be in a copacetic land. Okay. Most of all of us want to live in euphoria where there's peace on earth, right? And goodwill toward men. It doesn't matter. This is right or wrong. The dude that went into this, he's very choosy on what he talked about. Let's not forget about what happened at the Mormon church. You're telling me that guy was left-leaning? He for sure was not. He was violent. But are we talking about that? No. All of this has to do with, the left, the left, the left. The rhetoric is dangerous. You got to understand, this is the thing. We're going to, as they continue to stack on more of these claims and saying the left, the left, the left, the left, the left. This is the stuff that they're it's like they're wanting, it's like they're, oh God forbid it, but it's like what we just talked about, this explosion that happened in that manufacturing plant, right? It's like they just keep adding more and more gunpowder, more and more to this powder keg. And at some point, it's going to be packed so tight that it's just going to explode. And it's almost as if that's what they want to have happen. Now, don't get me wrong. What happened to Benny Johnson is terrible. Terrible. No one should receive something like that. No one. But I think it is a little reckless to be out here just saying, it's left people and it's all. I just think it's wrong. If I was in Benny Johnson's shoes, I would not be going and blaming the left or the right. I'd just be like, there's a lot of bad things that are going on in this country, and we need to find a way to be better, bring ourselves together. This radical particular person was radicalized for whatever their beliefs were. They don't like what I have to say. But we brought him to justice. That's it. It doesn't need to be all of this other stuff. But, he going to say what he wants to say because that's his right?
Who wrote me, described why he wanted me dead. I was a white, cis, Christian Trump supporter. They described in great detail how I would be killed in an open field, just like Charlie, how much blood would come out of my head and neck when it was blown off. This individual described orphaning my 4 beautiful children and widowing my wife with great joy. You might want to say another left-wing radical, another extremist. And to that, I would like to direct your attention to the state of Virginia, where Democrats have nominated and are about to vote for the chief law enforcement officer in that state, a man who has done the exact same thing. An individual who's calling for the assassination by bullets of Republicans that he disagrees with. The killing of their children. The slaughtering of, as he says, little fascists. Are my 4 innocent, beautiful children little fascists? Violence has been mainstreamed by the Democrat Party. It is not extremist, it is mainstream. And we need a moment of reckoning here. This has to stop. This cycle must end. Is any Democrat courageous enough to disavow violence? To call for individuals that espouse these things, like what happened to my family, or what's happening in Virginia, to call for those kind of candidates to step down? Will Democrats vote for that? Because if you're voting for that, then implicitly you're encouraging it, you're endorsing it. I don't want political violence. I want peace in my nation. I love this country. I want to be able to debate like Charlie did. I want to be able to raise my family in peace. That is our birthright. But you cannot make peace with evil as a Christian. You cannot unite with people who want you dead. I want unity in this nation. I want to be able to agree on more than what we disagree on. But for that first to happen, we must understand the battle. We are fighting good versus evil, darkness versus light. And good must conquer evil. do not make peace with evil. To that end, and in conclusion, I would like to thank federal law enforcement, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, the FBI, the DOJ, the Tampa Police Department, the detectives here, with absolute pinpoint accuracy, professionalism, courtesy, swift and tact. They were able to act instantly in order to make sure that my family was safe, potentially to preserve the lives of my children, and they're doing that for families all around the country in many different ways. Every American should unite behind that cause. No matter who you are, you should say, this is a country where families should be able to raise their children safely, where people can have peaceful disagreements, and where we can all live together under one American flag. I just want to profoundly thank the Trump administration and federal law enforcement and local law enforcement for saving my family. I will never forget it. It is the greatest goodness that has ever been done to me. And that is a thing that every American can get behind. The Trump administration making America safe again. God bless them.
Yeah, so he is a commentator, political pundit. Yes, he is. He's on YouTube, podcaster, that kind of thing. But he has very close ties to MAGA. Okay. He spoke at at Charlie Kirk's memorial as well. He has a very strong connection with the MAGA, with the Trump administration and all that. Okay. Definitely is a hardcore supporter of Trump. If you just watch, like I said, if you just watch 5 seconds of his show, you'll see he is definitely a hardcore supporter. But let me see what else is being said here.
We'll take, you have a few questions? Attorney General. Wait, I'll go left to right. Okay.
Attorney General, I do know that it's unfortunate what happened to your family in that letter, but he just described that this is solely put on by the Democratic Party. Do you see it that way, that this is something that is caused by the Democratic Party?
No, and I just talked about what happened in Minnesota to a Democrat, what happened in Pennsylvania to a Democrat governor. No, this was a left-wing radical, absolutely. The same type of person who murdered and assassinated Charlie Kirk. That's what we're talking about here today. But it doesn't matter who you are. If you commit an act of violence, a written threat through the mail, we are going to find you. These men behind me are going to hunt you down and find you. This guy thought he got away with this, and he thought he could hurt Benny and his family, and it's not going to happen. We have open cases, other open cases all over this country, and we're going to find you. Any other question? Yes, hey. Sure.
This is an ongoing investigation. The man is in custody. I will defer that question until the appropriate time because it is still very much under investigation and following all the leads that we possibly can.
And that's a very good question. Sure. The president said nothing about violence, absolutely nothing. And that was in response, I believe, to amazing Erica Kirk talking about her forgiveness. And he was saying how brave and bold she was and how difficult it is to forgive the person who assassinated. No, I'm not worried about that because that was not said. That was not said. No.
Okay. I mean, he said, I hate my enemy. He did say that. He goes, I give mad, respect to Erica for doing what she does, and other people. I'm just different. I guess, I look at my enemy and I just hate him. I just hate him. I hate my enemy. Then later on, he said there's an enemy within. The enemy is from within. He most definitely said that. Like, that's what's so crazy about this. And what's so sad about this as well is that there are going to be people that are just going to believe what's being said by these people. And they're going to forget what's being said, what's truly being said, or truly what's been already been said. Right? So again, he went on to that thing during the memorial and said, I even talked about it. I said, my God, Erica Kirk should have been the last person. To close out that memorial. She should have been, not Trump. And I know, I get it. He's the president of the United States, but at the same time, this is not for him. That memorial was not for him. It was for Charlie Kirk. But he ended that whole speech. He was rambling. He said his thing. He did his Trump ramble thing. But in that speech, he said, yeah, I don't, I can't, do that with my enemies. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I just look at them. I just straight up hate them. A lot of people are better than me, I guess. And then later on in Quantico with Pete Hegseth, basically saying, I want tight asses. Trump goes, we have an enemy, and the enemy is from within. It is in this country. And we need to have these troops in there getting ready and training and being able to handle what's really going on in these streets in certain cities. He said not all cities, but certain cities. So why is she here trying to deny something that he did already say? Like I said, it just, See, this is where I have an issue. He did not say those things, but he did. He most definitely did.
Act of violence was said. If anyone is sending a threatening communication through the mail, like they did to Benny Johnson, we're going to find them and we're going to prosecute them. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. Thank you all.
And I hope what she just said right there, I hope she holds true to that. Let's be completely real. She just said, doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. If you're getting threats like this, we have zero tolerance on this. Does not matter what side of the aisle you're on. If that is the case, I hope she stays true to that, because she might lie. I'm sorry. She might not tell the truth, because again, Benny Johnson is definitely hardcore Trump supporter. Nothing wrong with that. You want to support Trump, that's on you, boo-boo. That's all good. I don't care. That's your life. Choose the side you want to be on. That's fine. But one thing is for sure, okay? He is a Trump supporter. If this was happening to AOC, if this was happening to anybody on the left, would they do the same? Would they do the same for them? I'm curious. And I hope that they do. Because she just got caught on a live press conference saying as such. So I hope she does exactly what she says she's going to do, because I'm sure the likes of other left-leaning, pundits and and elected officials have already had their fair share of issues as well, right? But I digress. Let us continue. Okay. Let us continue. Oh boy. I'm going to see if there's any new updates with the any updates about the explosion. Just to see if there's any updates. Hold on. 1 minute. 1 minute, guys. Oh, shoot. I did not mean to hit that. What I meant was this. Let's take a look at this.
Truly an apocalyptic scene.
So we got a little, well, CNN did a video on it. Okay. So we're going to take a look at that here. again, of course, we're still waiting to see if there's any new updates in regards to all this. Hold on 1 second, actually. Hold on. Okay. Let's take a look at this. We're going to listen to only a little bit of this because this is like 10 minutes long, but let's hear what they got to say.
In Tennessee, crews are responding to a powerful blast at a military explosives facility in the town of McEwen. Officials say that a number of people were killed in this, that others are missing. It's an explosion that shook homes miles away in the small rural community west of Nashville. Video from a man's doorbell camera captured the moment that it happened. Officials are set to give an update on the situation here shortly, but in the meantime, let's bring in CNN's Ryan Young. Ryan, what do we know?
Yeah, this is about an hour outside of Nashville. This happened around 7:48, as you saw on that camera that we just saw from the Ring doorbell. But this blast was immense. When you look at the video from above, you can see just barely anything left. When I called the EMS to talk to them about this, they were telling us that crews initially couldn't even had to stand back to respond because there were secondary explosions. You just look at the rubble there, the cars that have been twisted and pretty much blown apart, some still on fire. This explosion rocked the area. Just hearing from people saying they felt the blast from more than a couple miles away, you understand.
Huge job hazard for sure.
Explosion, but when you look at it, you just see how devastating it is. We have confirmed from the sheriff that there are multiple fatalities. No count given just yet, as they're trying to make sure not only is everyone accounted for, but they have to make those painful phone calls to family members who obviously know that their loved ones went to work today and then had this explosion happen. Both Hickman and Humphreys counties are working on this. We know the ATF and bomb arson units from the TBI are there as well. This explosion happening just around 7:48, but listen to what the sheriff said just about 20 minutes ago about this blast and where they are right now.
I don't want to put that kind of information out there right now because we are vetting that. We've had such a massive response that now we're trying to slow down, identify things. And for those of you that was around me during the flood, we had some mistakes during the flood of some things that was put out there as names and numbers and that kind of thing. And I don't want that today. We're trying to be very methodical in what we're doing and making sure that we take the time to recognize and find out each and every one of these individuals and their family.
Brianna, you understand this is going to be—
I'm going to make this abundantly clear. That makes a lot of sense to me. I get why he's like, okay, we made some mistakes in the first round. We don't want to make that same mistake here again. So again, you know what I mean? I want to make sure that we, you know what I mean? Like, I want to make sure that we honor and not make the same mistake again, especially with another mass tragedy like this, right? Jose just said there was another tragedy. What? Can you comment in the comment section and let me know where or what it is so I can see what the heck's going on? Jesus. I hope that's not true, Jose. But again, please comment, let us know, okay? If that is what you're trying to say. But again, that's just crazy, y'all. Crazy, okay?
A complex investigation with such a large scene like this, but you also want to get it right when you have people's families involved, so you understand the sheriff taking a beat. We do know there should be a news conference within the next half hour or so we hope to bring parts of that to you live as we learn more information. But once again, first responders had to stand back for a little while as these secondary explosions happened. The best vantage point so far has been from above, where you see these scenes that we're looking at right now. Just horrific as this community, small community, deals with this blast that apparently took the lives of several of the workers. We'll have more for you soon, Brianna.
All right, we'll be looking for that. Ryan, thank you for the latest. Let's bring in the mayor of Hickman County, Tennessee, Jim Bates. That is one of the counties where this site is sitting on. He's with us by phone. Mayor, thanks for being with us here. I know they're trying to work out the numbers of this. Can you give us a sense of just how many people were working in this facility in what is really quite a small town?
Thank you for having me on. As far as the amount of employees there, I know the entire facility has approximately 80 employees. However, we do not at this time know how many were maybe involved in this blast. It's a big facility. It's confirmed that there is one building that was completely devastated. But at this time, I am unknown and unaware of how many were in that building.
Mayor, can you give us a sense of how connected this facility is to that community? How many people in that community are employed here? And how much this is touching people in that community? I'm assuming everyone knows someone who's being affected here.
Yes, ma'am. This facility actually straddles two different counties. It's on the county line between my county, Hickman County, and Humphreys County. And as you saw earlier, the Humphreys County Sheriff was there giving a interview. There is a lot of the employees that do work there are from these two counties. They do a lot in our community as far as helping others. So yeah, it's just it's pretty devastating to see this.
What are you hearing from families where you are?
Well, I have not had much contact with the families. As a matter of fact, I am about to drive out to the scene because I had to mandate my office this morning. So, and field any calls that were coming in. We've had some families call us. We've gave them instructions as to what to do and where to go. And that's the way we're trying to handle this.
Do they have a place where they're going to get information? How are they being treated and communicated with at this point?
Well, like I say, I'm not at the scene. Sheriff Davis from Humphreys County, when he gave his interview, there is a place at the scene, not right there where the explosion took place, but right there on the facility grounds, where the families can go and be able to have someone talk to them. Yes.
Can you talk to us about the questions that are being asked, even if they're not being answered at this point in time? This is obviously a military explosives company. I think it seems pretty evident that something exploded that was not supposed to. Is there any indication of what may have caused that? And tell us just about the questions being raised about that.
Well, there's a lot of questions about that. It is unknown at this time what caused this blast. It's going to be an investigation that's probably going to go on for days. This facility, they do manufacture not only military but demolition explosives, for road work and things like that as well. They're not just strictly military. But I will say this: this investigation is going to go on for some time, I'm sure.
Okay, that certainly makes sense. That is going to take some time. Have there been any issues with safety in the past?
No, ma'am. I know back in 2014 there was a small ammunition explosion there, but that was in 2014. It was handled real well. It was just I don't even remember what caused that.
Yeah, and any concern about secondary explosions? Obviously, as officials there are trying to get a handle on just the scope of this, is there anything preventing them from doing that when it comes to concerns about other dangers?
Well, they're working with the best possible folks that they can work with that know everything there is to know about explosives. They're all out there at the scene right now. I keep getting updates a little bit here and there. Like I said, we're going to now a regular hourly, I believe is what they told me, updates, so that we can keep people informed as to what's going on. As far as any hazardous materials being spread through the air or anything, I'm unaware of any of that.
All right. Mayor Bates, we're so sorry. We can see this scene, and as you say, there's 80 employees. We know that this is really touching the communities there in these two counties, and we certainly appreciate you updating us. And we'll let you go now so that you can go there to the scene.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Erica?
Also with us at this hour, Jim Maxwell. He's a retired FBI special agent and bomb tech. Jim, good to have you with us. I mean, those pictures are just devastating when we see them. What we learned from the mayor there and what we know about the company, the fact that this company makes military and demolition explosives. There were these secondary explosions at one point, as Ryan was reporting. What does that tell you in these initial moments about what may have happened?
Well, first of all, my heart goes out to the families and the employees at this company. This is a devastating event. And I think it's safe to say that if they're both manufacturing military as well as commercial explosives, that these are high explosives, material that moves faster than 3,300 feet per second. So military explosives can move anywhere from 18 to 23,000 feet per second. So this, when this type of energetic material ignites, it has devastating effects. But right now, I think the biggest issue is for health and safety of the first responders is making sure that the area is safe to enter. You'll have reports of secondary explosions. You also have to consider how much other material that has not been initiated stored there, and is it in danger of igniting also? So there's a lot of questions that have to be answered, and even approaching a scene like this is extremely dangerous and difficult.
Yeah. Of course, there's going to be, obviously there's going to be a lot more investigation into what actually happened here. Of course, I'm going to see if there's
about 7:45.
See if there's any more updates on this. But obviously they haven't really
Watch World News Tonight.
Dear Lord. They have not really been giving much of anything in regards to this. Okay. In regards to the explosion, they haven't really given much of an update at all. So obviously we heard from the mayor basically saying
about
that
7:40.
That this is going to be
Breaking news.
Good God. Shish. That this is going to be an ongoing situation, an ongoing investigation, and it could take a few days, right? So again, we'll see what happens here, right? But nonetheless, I'm just seeing if there's any other news or updates that are going on as well, because obviously that situation is just crazy and terrifying, right? Let's see. Hold on. Just checking a few updates to see if there's anything more going on, y'all, because obviously there's a lot going on. One second, y'all. So there is something that's very interesting that's going on. I forgot to mention this, and I know some of you guys were talking about this, that the Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, let's be completely real. All right. I'll check News Channel 5 here in a second, Donna. I promise. We definitely got to talk about. Let me just pull up the News Channel 5 thing. Hold on. Jeez. Let's see if there's anything else coming from News Channel 5 here. So give me a second, just real quick before we go into this other conversation. Well, this is a video that just got put up about 38 minutes ago. So let's take a look at this.
Be back
real quick before I talk about this Nobel Peace Prize. All right. And how I guess Trump was snubbed from his Nobel Peace Prize. Let's take a look.
If you'll give us, I see that it's 11 o'clock. I'd like to get back here maybe at 12. I want to go up and communicate with other law enforcement agencies to make sure that we can get y'all in with and get you some footage.
Is it located in Hickman County or Humphreys County?
You are right on the county line, half and half. That's why I say we're working this, and he and I are married at the hip.
Okay.
Mr. Stinson.
I know you have the map, and I just wondered if it was both.
It's
It actually, some of it is actually Hickman, and some of it is Humphreys. So,
and you know, it's one of those things that I've often said. It don't matter if there's something that's going to happen. For those of you that know me, if there's something happen, we're going to take care of it, of what needs to be done. Together, everybody achieves more, and we're going to stay together and make sure we handle this situation the best we can.
Now, we already heard this piece. We've already heard all of this, so I'm going to skip ahead because they're like, we don't know anything yet. We're still looking at everything. We're still trying to figure out everything for right now, but let's see if there's anything added to this report.
All right, so you were just watching a live update from emergency officials near McEwen. It's about an hour west of Nashville, where they gave us the details of an explosion that happened there around 7:45 this morning at Accurate Energetic Systems. They told us that they really want to be careful with the information that they put out right now. What we know so far is at least 19 have been reported missing, but we don't know of their status or any of the names involved. Emergency officials in that press conference you just witnessed said that they want to be very deliberate and responsible and respectful to those individuals and their families as well. So there is still a lot that we're working to find out about this explosion. We know it happened around 7:45 this morning. Officials described it as a devastating explosion on the county line between Hickman and Humphreys counties. So it's really required a massive response. You're watching some footage from our Sky 5 helicopter this morning over the damage. Now, we are going to be following this story throughout the morning as well to give you as much information as we can. Deputies are urging people to stay out of the area, though, so emergency services can do their work. We're going to show you some other photos, including some from Lauren Rourke. She shared those with Nick Barris. Now, she lives close to the explosion. She and her neighbor, Katie Arnold, say they took these photos moments after the explosion. Crazy. Lauren told Nick that there was a lot of debris floating down around their house. They live just a few minutes from the plant. They said the explosion was so strong, it sounded like it was right outside, shaking the house, knocking dust and insulation loose from the ceiling vents.
Crazy.
Cody Warren is the one who sent Nick this video. Now, he lives in Lobelville, which is about 21 miles from the explosion. Cody says that he felt the ground shake after that explosion. Now, we want to tell you what we know about the plant so far. The plant is Accurate Energetic Systems. It specializes in developing, manufacturing, handling, and storing explosives used in multiple professions. That includes the military, aerospace, and commercial demolition. Now, we are still working to learn more about what exactly was housed in that building that appears to be at the center of the explosion. First responders are also asking for your help. They're asking folks to only call the sheriff's office and 911 for emergencies. That's so they can continue to respond to this current emergency.
Again, like I said, a lot of what we have heard, nothing's really changed. There hasn't really been any big pieces of information yet. They're still claiming that 19 people are missing. They haven't said they still have not said that these people have lost their lives or anything of that sort. And I think that's very interesting. But we definitely need to talk about this. Okay. I'm sorry for the left turns and all that, but today is a day where we are talking about a lot of left turns. We got to talk about this whole situation where Trump has been gunning hardcore for the Nobel Peace Prize. All right. He's been trying to get that since he got back into office. Okay. And I'm going to say this too. Let me just say this. With what he is in the middle of doing right now, with the stuff that's going on in the Middle East, okay, with him trying to bring peace and a ceasefire between Gaza and Israel, obviously that is an amazing feat. But let me just say this. But it is not done yet. Ceasefire has not happened yet. They have not had a full-on stoppage of the carnage and the war going on in Gaza between Gaza and Israel. It's in the process of happening, but it hasn't happened yet, y'all. The ink hasn't even been put on the contract, if that makes any sense. All right. They have not signed their John Hancock anywhere near a peace treaty or any type of ceasefire agreement of any kind. So for him to sit here and say, I want that that Nobel Peace Prize right now, he still needs to make sure that peace between these two entities, okay, these two countries are actually that it actually goes down. Okay. So again, that hasn't happened yet, y'all. The deal has not happened. So you can't sit there and go, see, they're about to, so give me my Nobel Peace Prize. He can't really do that. Unfortunately, he can't. Okay. So I get it that people are like, why? He should be getting it. Well, the thing isn't done yet. When that's done, yeah, Nobel Peace Prize. Come on, baby, let's go. Give it to him, dog. Because that is going to be a feat that I don't think anybody thought was ever going to happen. All right? Give it to him if it sticks, if it actually goes. But the ink has not even been put on the paper yet. Just so you know. So, a lot of people reacting to his Nobel snub, which I don't see this being a Nobel Peace Prize snub. It's just called timing, everybody. He's not done. Then also, you got to remember all the stuff that's going on in our country right now as well. What's being reported, the National Guards being put in various areas, him trying to go over the certain states' governor's wishes and all that. It's not a great look. You talk about peace, Nobel Peace Prize, and what that stands for. He's bringing peace in the Middle East when he's not even looking at peace in his own country that he's leading. That's very important. Bring peace here too. We need peace here too. We don't need America to turn into Israel, Gaza. We really don't. See what I'm saying? So again, he's stoking the flames in his own country while he's trying to make things quell in other countries. It doesn't make any sense. It's opposite day or something like that, right? But he's been hell-bent, real talk, and I get it. He's been hell-bent on that on that goal, getting that Nobel Peace Prize. He wants to leave this planet knowing that he got that Nobel Peace Prize, because next thing you know, his name will be forever in infamy for having that Nobel Peace Prize. With all due respect, like I said, what he's doing, let me tell you this really quick. I'm not sitting here trying to dog Trump, okay? No, I'm not. I'm just speaking like it is. I'm telling it like it is. What Trump is doing between Israel and Gaza, when he gets that done, that will be a feat no one has ever been able to do. That'll be amazing. And I think I'm very excited when that does go down, but it hasn't gone down yet. Okay? We have not gotten there yet. So when it gets there, hell yeah, put him on the list. But it hasn't gotten there yet. And also, I think this also too, for him to bring peace to this country as well. Because that's also what they're looking at as well, at least in my personal opinion. Let's take a look at this. Okay? Nobel Peace Prize chair gives sneering justification for snubbing Trump for Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado. Hopefully I'm saying that last name correct. So Nobel Peace Committee chairman today suggested that Donald J. Trump did not receive the prize because he was not the most deserving candidate. Oh, dun, dun, dun. Diggity damn. So Jorgen, okay, Friedness, Friedness, okay, I don't know if I'm saying his last name right, so I apologize, was quizzed by reporters about the impact of Trump's campaign to win the distinguished prize and the mounting speculation about whether he'd be successful. So this chairman, Friedness, responded diplomatically, batting the question away as he explained why the committee chose Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado instead. In the long history of Nobel Peace Prize, this committee has seen every type of campaign, he said. We receive thousands and thousands of letters every year of people wanting to say what, for them, leads to peace. This committee sits in a room filled with the portraits of all laureates, and that room is filled with courage and integrity. We base our decision only on the work and the will of Alfred Nobel, he said. The White House has since responded after the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to Machado instead of Trump. The Nobel Committee proved they place politics over peace, said Stephen Chung, the president's director of communication. He's really great at communicating, is he not? But moving on. I mean, if you really think about it, the Nobel Committee proved they place politics over peace. Is that really what you want to say? You know what I'm saying? Is that really what you want to say to the Nobel Peace Prize Committee? Like, they hold the reins. They hold the decision. Every time he could be sitting there going, look, I stopped all famine and I cured homelessness throughout the entire world. Everyone has a home. Everyone has a job. See, Nobel Committee, give me my Nobel Peace Prize. They're going to be like, well, you just said we only place politics over peace. You think we forgot about that, bro? Nah, homie, we good. We're going to give it to this Venezuelan girl. See you later. Bye. And this is her right here. Okay? You get a burrito. I'm sorry, that was messed up, but sorry. I don't know who she is, to be honest. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado addresses supporters during a protest called by the opposition on the eve of the presidential inauguration in Caracas on January 9th, 2025. So the Nobel Committee announced Machado as the prize's 2025 winner on Friday. So today, she was honored for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela and for her struggle to achieve a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. And this is what Friedness said. Okay? And he is the chair of the Norwegian Nobel Committee in Oslo. The announcement came as Israel's military declared the Gaza ceasefire agreement had now come into effect following a vote in the cabinet last night. Now, it has come into effect, but is it actually going down? I don't know. The U.S. president's name, heavily floated in the media in the recent weeks, did not make the final cut. President Trump will continue making peace deals around the world, ending wars and saving lives, as Chung said in a statement. He has the heart of a humanitarian, and there will never be anyone like him who can move mountains and with the sheer force of his will. Why do I feel like I have to be yelling when I say these things? Speaking, like, whenever they speak for Trump in a way, it's always like in this, like, he is 10 feet tall. He is the most intelligent man in the history of intelligence of man. Have you not noticed that? He has a heart of a humanitarian. And there will never be anyone like him or who can move mountains with sheer force of his will. Don't you realize, don't you feel that a little bit? Just a little bit? Like he should be on a podium screaming in front of people. You know what I mean? 9! I'm kidding. But you see what I'm saying? It just feels like that. It reminds me of when his first inauguration day, and I forgot his name. What was his name? Spicer? I think Sean Spicer. I think that was his name. Remember he was like the press secretary, and they were like, it was not a good turnout. Not a whole lot of people showed up, and he's like, it was the best turnout in the history of inaugurations ever, right? And I was like, oh, damn, that is going to be what we get. That's the vibe we're going to get forever. And we still do. Even Chung is sitting here going, he's the heart of a humanitarian and the passion of a lion. You see what I'm saying? Crazy. So in the months leading up to the decision, Trump had vigorously pitched himself as a peacemaker. He offered himself as a bridge builder and pointed to his 20-point Gaza plan and repeatedly insisted he had ended multiple wars. The two-time U.S. president has been on a not-so-subtle Nobel Peace Prize campaign since his first term in office, when he claimed many people thought he had earned it. Speculation he could win the award this year began after he brokered the historic peace agreement between Israel and Hamas to end the 2-year war in Gaza. Both sides have agreed to the first phase of Trump's plan to pause fighting and release hostages, a deal that could open the way to ending a brutal conflict that has killed tens of thousands of people and unleashed a humanitarian catastrophe. Now, again, like I said, let's be real. How many, where is there peace already happening out there? Like I said, it just happened. He's like, look, it's underway. So give me that Nobel Peace Prize, right? So Machado has lauded for being a key unifying figure in a political opposition that was once deeply divided, an opposition that found common ground in the demand for free elections and representative government. In the past year, Ms. Machado has been forced to live in hiding despite serious threats against her life. She has remained in the country, a choice that has inspired millions. When authoritarians seize power, it is crucial to recognize courageous defenders of freedom who rise and resist, he said. So Nicolas Maduro's government routinely targeted its real and perceived opponents ahead of last year's presidential election. Machado was set to run against Maduro, but the government disqualified her. Edmundo Gonzalez took her place. He had never run office before. The lead up to this election saw widespread repression, including disqualifications, arrests, and human rights violations. The crackdown on dissent only increased after the country's National Electoral Council, which is stacked with Maduro loyalists, declared him the winner despite credible evidence to the contrary. The U.S. president emerged unsuccessful following a series of obstacles, including that nominations for this year's award, of which there were 338, closed at the end of January, not only after Trump returned to office. Let's take a look at this.
Peace Prize goes to Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado. The Nobel Committee made the announcement this morning, calling Machado a brave and committed champion of peace for her work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela. Machado founded a group that works to promote free and fair elections. She was then elected to Venezuela's National Assembly with a record number of votes, but the Maduro regime expelled her from office and then barred her from running for president. Now she says she's honored, humble, and very grateful on behalf of the Venezuelan people.
I have no words. I thank you so much, but I hope you understand this is a movement. This is a achievement of a whole society. I am just one person. I certainly do not deserve this.
Foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burridge is here for more on that. Hi, Tom. So the Nobel Committee says democracy is in retreat internationally. How significant is this recognition, choosing this person for the Nobel Peace Prize? And how do you think it could affect the fight for democracy in Venezuela and beyond?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting choice, Diane. Look, Maria Corina Machado, it will be a massive boost for her international profile. It shines a big light on her cause, and she continues to campaign for democracy in Venezuela and a peaceful transition of power away from the Maduro regime. I mean, arguably, the Maduro regime might now see her as more of a threat, although she's already in hiding and has been for months. But, it will shine a light on Venezuela. It will isolate internationally the Maduro regime further. But I don't think we should overplay the significance. At the moment, that regime has an iron grip on power.
I spoke to Machado last year, and she told me the most important thing is that her movement has the support of the people. I want to play some of that conversation for you.
We need to put all the pressure on Nicolas Maduro so that he understands that the cost of staying in power will be higher. It's getting higher every day until the cost of leaving power is less than that. And that's what we need to do right now. We need to put all pressure from within, and that's what we are doing, even we're persecuted and being under repression. I've been accused of terrorism. The regime is looking for me, and that's happening with most of our members of our teams. But we are working, we are willing to fight, as well as our Venezuela diaspora around the world. So this is the moment to move ahead, to put pressure on Maduro and to make him understand that all those that have committed crimes against humanity will be held accountable.
Now, I want to make this abundantly clear. There's something about this candidate, okay, this winner, that is a little bit different than what we're seeing from Trump. Can you tell what it is? I mean, aside from her being female and Venezuelan, okay? This is, it's very telling, okay? It's the approach. It's just who she is. She's doing this for her people. She's doing this for her people. This woman is in hiding. She's trying to take out the corruption. She speaks about peace. She's trying to bring peace and democracy to her people. You can also say humble, yes, Jalissa. You could definitely say humble. But if you notice, she got nominated and she got what she got, this prize, because she's not trying for it. Does that make sense? All the moves that we've been seeing from Trump lately, everything he's been like saying is like, oh, maybe I should get the Peace Prize. Maybe I should get the Nobel Peace Prize. Everything that he's been doing, all the moves that he's been making, I don't know if he's doing it for the people or if it's just so that he can get his name on that list and get that Nobel Peace Prize awarded to him. I'm just speaking, I'm just seeing what I'm seeing. Okay? I'm just seeing what I'm seeing. Hold on. Did I lose it?
The Norwegian.
Okay. There it is. We got to take a look at this because I want to see what Jorgen Friedness said. Okay, because again, and just hear it from his own mouth. But if you really if you look at it, if you realize this, like literally, it sounds like all the moves that he's been making has solely been about getting the award. That's it. That's all he wants to do is get the award. So he has that another notch on his bedpost of accomplishments that he has made, right? Okay, I'll just do all this stuff because this looks good. And don't get me wrong, he has done a lot of really great things as far as like stopping wars and doing all what he's been doing as far as those things go. But then my only opposing argument is what we're seeing here on American soil. There is no peace right now. He is jumping over and jumping through hoops to do as much as he can to try to get National Guard in places in his own country. He said out loud that the enemy is from within. He is saying that the left are monsters, such and such. Like, these are all bad things. This is not political, y'all. They're watching everything that he's doing. You see what I'm saying? You can't sit here and say that he's doing all of this and they're just going to look at, oh, well, he's making things peaceful in Gaza, but totally ignore what he's doing in his own country, causing a lot of issues, causing turmoil, causing an upheaval. And this is what judges and other governors from other states and people from all over in those areas are reacting to. This is not them sitting there going like, oh, well, just let them go. We need the National Guard in there, or we need ICE to be ripping through places and all that. There is not peace in that. That is not peaceful. So as much as he's like, look at what I'm doing, guys. Look at all the plates I'm spinning over here. It's like, well, you got a whole sink full of dishes in your own kitchen that you need to be spinning and cleaning off and spinning right now, but you're not doing that over here. You're doing it all the way over here in Venezuela. You're doing it all the way over here in Gaza and Israel. Cool that you can spin these plates over here. Bet. Congratulations. Do you, boo-boo? Yes. Hercules. But what's going on over here, though? There's a sink filled with filthy dishes, and instead of you washing those dishes, you're taking them out and just smashing one by one on the ground. And then on top of that, to add insult to injury, you're not even willing to pick this up, clean up the mess a little bit. No, you just keep adding to it. And then you keep pointing blame at Consuela, who is the one housekeeping your home. That's literally what's going on right now. That's crazy. That's crazy. You don't think Nobel Peace Prize Committee or the Nobel Committee is not looking at that and going, yo, this is crazy. That's not good. Cool that he's doing it over here, but what about over here? Should be peace all the way around. Universal, international peace, right? But he's not doing that. Okay, let's take a look at this. All right.
The Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 to Maria Corina Machado. She is receiving the Nobel Peace Prize for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela.
The Nobel Peace Prize winner, Maria Corina Machado from Venezuela, Latin America. We do want to go now live to our Selma Abdelaziz, who is in London, here to give us a little bit more context of maybe why this is the recipient this year, and what the background is here.
Now, I want to make this abundantly clear, just so you know, because I was just looking this up too. I was like, do Nobel Peace Prizes happen every year, or is it like once every 4 years or something like that? Nope. It happens every year. Nobel Peace Prizes are awarded annually, with announcements typically happening in early October and ceremonies done in early December, the anniversary of Alfred Nobel's passing. So exceptions to the annual schedule have occurred, most often due to world wars, and the prizes can be withheld if no work is deemed significant enough. So again, they can withhold prizes that year if they're like, yeah, no one's trying to be peaceful out here. Y'all losing your damn minds. That is a possibility, right? So again, Trump might be upset about it, but he still has plenty of time to get it. He's got 3 more years in office if he ever leaves office. And I know that's one thing that some people are wondering, if he's never going to leave office, right? But that's one thing. He has 3 more years to do this, but that's what I'm saying. You need to see what's going on in your own backyard, homie. And there needs to be peace brought to your own backyard before you start going, look at all the peace I'm doing over here. You see what I'm saying? Look at all the peace that I'm doing over here. You need to look at the peace that you need to be bringing here in this country too, right? But let me continue.
It is very easy to see, Brian, why she was chosen by the Nobel Committee. This is a woman who has dedicated her life to her country, Venezuela, which is, of course, now suffered under an economic crisis, under what is widely seen as a dictatorship, under increasing repression. And she has faced off with those authorities both boldly, bravely, and unbowingly. Just to go over a little bit of who she is, she was elected a member of the National Assembly in 2011. She held that seat for nearly 3 years and was eventually stripped of that seat. She tried to run for presidential elections and was also removed from the ballot, and that's not due to her popularity. Brian, there is an understanding that she has deep popularity on the ground and a huge movement behind her. About a year ago, she went into hiding, fearing for her life. We understand she remains in hiding. She recently did an interview with Elle magazine, speaking of that experience, saying that she's barely seen the sun in months, but that she continues to fight for what she believes in.
That's wild.
And that is fundamentally at its core a peaceful transition to democracy for a country, again, that has suffered deeply under dictatorship. So
again, I think it's incredible and wild that you have the likes of this Maria Corina Machado that is literally hiding. Like, she's holed up somewhere in the darkness somewhere. And she has received a Nobel Peace Prize because of her dedication, her devotion to the Venezuelan people and trying to bring true democracy to that country. That's commendable. That, to me, makes sense why she received the Nobel Peace Prize. And again, the ones that are out here going, oh, she's a no-name, she's a nobody, that blah, blah, blah. Where does she come from? Venezuelan? Well, that Nobel Peace Prize is not only just about bringing peace to places. It's also showing sacrifice, showing dedication, doing whatever you need to do to try to help the people, being selfless. And to me, that's what she's exuding. This is what she's exuding with her countless days of hiding out somewhere, right? Let's be real. She's definitely making a difference. She's doing something for her people. Right now, we're seeing a lot of stuff here in America that I think that they might be seeing as well. And they're saying, oh, it's their response was about, oh, they're looking at politics rather than policy, right? Well, they're looking at her and what she's doing. Her unfeathered devotion and dedication to helping her own people. That's commendable, in my personal opinion. That's absolutely commendable. That makes sense that she would get nominated, if not win, over the likes of anybody else. Like I said, I feel like Trump has been just going painting by numbers, right? It's interesting. It's like taking two paintings. One is paint by numbers, and it's the same type of painting, same design, right? They're going to paint a cockatoo, okay? They're painting a parrot. You got one where it's paint by numbers, and you got another one that's painted with talent or with passion, inspiration, whatever, what have you. What do you think is going to look like a better painting? Most likely the one that isn't paint by numbers. Because it's going to be clearly, okay, this person painted with creativity, some ingenuity, and painted with their own voice, with their own perspective, right? That paint by numbers, sure, it's going to be pretty. It's still going to look good, but multiple other people have done the same thing, right? Painted the same parrot, same bird in the same way. And I feel like that's what's going on. Look at what I did. Look at all these things that I've done. It feels a bit like he's doing all of this just so he can get the Nobel Peace Prize. Because I know I'm about to say something crazy, and I know some of y'all are going to be mad about what I'm saying, but I always think that there's a constant competition with former President Barack Obama. Yes, I said it. And I think that there's a lot of things that he has been awarded or that he's been able to do. And I'm not sitting here saying that Obama's the best president. I'm not. So hold on. All I'm saying is I feel like he sees the accomplishments that he's been able to get, like a Nobel Peace Prize. And he goes, well, I should get that same thing too. There is a competition going on there, clearly. And anybody that has anything to do with anything left, he wants to annihilate that as best as he can. Anything left. And if it's something that's going on, we hear it all the time. He turns and he goes, can't you see this is what happened because of Biden? It's because of the left. It has nothing to do with me. Everything that's gone bad has nothing to do with me. It's because of the left, right? But then you see something like Obama getting Nobel Peace Prize, and I'm sure that pissed him off. And he's like, nope, I'm getting that this year or this term. Dag nabbit. If he got it, I'm getting it. Damn it. And I'm going to get it while I'm in office, not after I'm in office. I'm going to do it while I'm in office. Watch me. And I think that's what the focus is. He will stop at nothing to try to go see what I did. See me feeding this hungry child with a spoon of rice in his mouth. Don't you see? Don't you see what I'm doing? I'm doing good things. Give me that Peace Prize. See what I'm saying? But he really needs to focus on what's going on here in this country. And I think that's one of the reasons why he did not get it. Sorry, not sorry. It's just facts. Okay. But again, let me get some of these super chats because I got a bunch in here. Okay. Carbonize, thank you so much for being a member for the past 20 months. I really do appreciate it. Almost 2 years. Damn. If you could please hit that like, it would be appreciated, or smash that like. Yes, guys, smash that like button down below. Okay. We're almost at 1,000. If you can hit that like down below, if everybody hits that like button down below, we'll be at 1K in no time. Okay. That'd be greatly appreciated. Whatever clever. Thank you so much. Zoom. Oh, we already said that. Zoom way out. The driveway is circular. I did see that in the super chat. So thank you so much. You were the one that helped me get it. So thank you, or get to that part. Mia, thank you so much. Power to the people. God bless you, brother. Thank you so much, Mia. Indeed. Power to the people. Indeed. Miss Gloria, thank you so much for gifting 1 membership. Welcome to the family. Whoever just became a member, welcome, welcome. Adam Sharp, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. All right. And just like Adam, please consider becoming a member. Please and thank you. I see a bunch from Carbonized, so thank you so much for the super chat. At this point, even the Germans are like 999. They copy us from the 1930. Dear Lord, yeah, we're living in some weird times, guys. There's a stand-up comedian, Christopher Titus. I saw this morning. It randomly popped into my TikTok feed where he talks about the comparison between what we're seeing right now to what was happening, in the 30s, if you get what I'm saying. It's a wild comparison. It's very interesting. I'll just say that. Lily Rose, thank you so much. When the Constitution is under attack, stand up, fight back. I agree. When the Constitution is being messed with, we all should have a problem with that. We shouldn't be sitting there going, he's got a right to do that. No, he doesn't. The Constitution is here to protect all of us. It's not to be changed. It's not to be redacted or edited. Oh, you could do this thing, but you can't do that. No, it shouldn't be. No. The Constitution is there for a very specific reason. All right? It's been there for hundreds of years. Hasn't changed. We must protect it as best as we can. Moving on. Carbonized, thank you so much again. You're saying I'm autistic because I'm circumcised? Pascal, we got to talk. Yeah, literally the dude said, you chopping off the dome, chopping off a little off the top, you might be autistic. If you did it too early, if you did it way too early after you're born, you may be autistic. There's a connection here, y'all. Wild. Okay? Wild. Bluebird, thank you so much. Thank you, Pascal and Mods, for everything you do. Yeah, shout out to the Mods. They always keep it classy and a little sassy. Yep, that's what we're here for. Okay, that is what we're here for. Allie, thank you so much for the love. He only wants a Nobel Peace Prize because Obama has one. Oh, I didn't see that until just now. But yes, good point. Absolutely. I think it's just competition. Okay, it's a little bit of a competition. Okay, just a tiny bit of a competition. Okay, it's like he can't stand it. He can't be winning. No, he got a Nobel. I need a Nobel. There's no way. We're going to make it happen. Right, team? And all of them are sitting there going, yes, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right? Whatever you say, sir. So we are living in some weird, really interesting times, guys. Really, really interesting times. Okay, so the Nobel Peace Prize talk is done. That is some very interesting stuff. Let me just see if let me just check one more thing. One more thing before we continue. All right. Let's see. One second. Holy cow. What a wild, wild time. Okay, one second. Checking one more thing. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's it. We covered a lot, and then we hung out a good long time. Okay, we covered a lot, and we did hang out a long time. So I guess that's what's going to be what it is. All right. So guys, again, I appreciate you guys being here, being a part of the conversation, hanging out with me and everything. The big show today, big Friday show. Obviously, if there's more updates and all that, we'll be talking. Okay, don't worry. Keep an eye on keep an eye on my Facebook, keep an eye on my TikTok, keep an eye here on YouTube as well. If there's any shorts and all that, I will be talking to you guys, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot going on. All right. There's always something going on. There's always somebody missing, or there's always somebody doing something bad, or there's always some craziness that's going on in these streets. So be on the lookout for all of those platforms for any new updates revolving around everything that we've been covering. Okay. I also pinned to the top of the chat. If you have not gotten a chance to check the video out, there has been a new update in the David Celeste Rivas case. I put out that video late last night because it popped off late last night. Also, I was on Vinny Politan's show, Vinny Politan Investigates. I had a really, really great time. Hopefully, it will be posted sometime. It hasn't been posted. It was on TV last night. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but I was on last night and I had a good time. And we were talking about the Sarah Grace Patrick case, the girl who is alleged of unaliving her stepdad and her mom while they were asleep. And then she was trying to become TikTok famous off of it, which was absolutely crazy. She's 17 years old now. She was 16 when she did this, when she allegedly did this. So I was on the show, got a chance to chop it up and do the show last night. Had a great time, and I appreciated being on there. Shout out to Court TV and their fantastic platform as well. And, of course, to the GOAT, Vinny Politan. It was an honor to be on to talk about what went down about that particular case. But, of course, if there are any other updates, all right, then I will definitely let you guys know, all right? Promise you guys that. You know, this is what I do. So keep an eye out when some new information comes out. But anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in, hang out with me. Be sure to keep an eye on Court TV when it drops, because it aired live. We were live on TV, but then it's going to be, I'm sure, uploaded at some point today or tomorrow. So make sure you just tune in and check it out, okay? But before you get going, I appreciate all y'all. Please do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it to do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, please make sure you hit that follow button. Of course, hit the like button too, but don't forget to please subscribe. Crush that subscribe button. That'll be greatly, greatly appreciated here on my YouTube channel. Subscribe here. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. That's the other channel. Subscribe to all three of these channels. Make sure you hit that notification bell on all those platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right? Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. All right? But anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Stay safe out there. We'll be talking here very soon. Much love to you guys. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.